Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
954-753-8080 and allow her to educate and guide you through the many plans, choices, and cost considerations. I Will Advisors represents all major insurance companies, not just a single carrier, so they will make sure you choose the best option for you. Call Debbie.
Good morning.
Advisors at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
There we go. Good morning, everyone.
The KANE Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350 for
Welcome. Make sure you subscribe. We're coming on the air live right now.
When you complete the trust with Attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tamalini
Hey, Carol.
Italian restaurant in Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Group with 9 offices in South Florida.
Oh,
including
boy.
Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs. Call 1-855-FLA-3782. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers.
Here we
and
go.
not necessarily those of
I'm
the
great.
station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
I am
The Steve Kane Show
spectacular.
is live in Morning Drive, 6 till 9 a.m. weekdays, and overnights, midnight till 6 a.m.
Oh,
7 nights
boy.
a week. To call the
Yes. That's right. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. And, of course, this is also the most pro-Donald Trump radio show in the world. My name is Brian Craig. Our number is toll-free 1-888-GO-KANE-1, a toll-free number from anywhere. 888-GO-KANE-1. That's Kane with a K, K-A-N-E, and the number 1. 888-465-2631. Well, I'll tell you, at the end of yesterday's show, I could not have been more wrong about the Pelosi press conference. I could not have been more wrong about the Pelosi press conference because I said at the end of yesterday's show, it's going to be a big nothing, just a regular press conference, and then she came out with this, that we've got to impeach our president. You know, what happened yesterday with Nancy Pelosi was a complete act of desperation from the Democrats, because what had happened was pretty simple. They had these left-wing, Trump-hating, intellectual law professors, and it was a disaster for the Democrats. It was a disaster. And they had a meeting amongst themselves, and they told themselves, they realized they could not have another day like that. They've got nothing on Trump. Their witnesses are not fact witnesses. The witnesses are despicable people. The people don't like them. And if we have more hearings like yesterday, it'll be over for us. We'll never be able to misuse our power and abuse our authority and impeach this president who's broken no laws. So what Pelosi did yesterday was a rush because the hearing was such a disaster the day before. It's absolutely amazing. The hearing was a disaster, and they only had their witnesses, basically, and using the gavel to shut up opposition. It's absolutely amazing, and still it was a disaster for them. So it was an act of desperation, but I'm here to tell you this, that not that President Trump's reelection was at any point up for debate. It's going to happen. Nancy Pelosi firmed up the reelection of President Donald Trump yesterday over her stupid move. And, you know, Rush Limbaugh was right on the money yesterday. Rush Limbaugh said, they hate the president and they hate us that elected him. And, you know, you got to understand, Nancy Pelosi and this government class, this ruling class of people, hate the voters. They hate the public. They know better than we do. We're stupid. We voted wrong, and they're trying to undo that. I'm hearing the strangest sound outside of my door, and it's in a locked office that I can't get to, so I may be a little distracted, but there is something very strange going on. During the break, I'll go and see if I can find out what it is and do something about this sound, but the most bizarre sound I've ever heard repeatedly in my life is right outside the door to the control room here at the studio. But anyway, they hate all of us. All of our elections before Trump have been fixed. I've talked about this a lot. I'm of the opinion And I think there's some truth to this. There might be one exception to it. I got to look into it because I do have in my mind that maybe one exception over 100 years ago to this. But President Trump is the first president, and I'm going all the way back to George Washington. He is the first president who's not a part of the political establishment. And they've never had this happen before. And this idea that we're living in a free country, a lot of that has been an illusion, at least when it comes to our elections. We've had a two-party system forever in this country. There have been third parties and fourth parties and things always, but it's basically been a two-party system since day one. And the American people never truly have chosen the president before. It's been chosen for us by the political establishments, all the way back to President Washington. And that's the way of it. And President Trump is the first one to be outside of the political establishment. It's never happened before. And that's why the entire bureaucracy and the political establishments of both parties have been in meltdown mode since they realized he had a chance during the campaign. This has never happened to them before. And it's not just their lives have been turned upside down. This is multi-generational for a lot of these people. And he hasn't just turned over upside down the lives of the politicians. The donors who run the country and bribe every member of the federal government through political donations, they've lost their power. They've lost their influence. The media has lost their influence. And they're all working to get their power back. And their power to be returned to them, Donald Trump must be brought down. And, that's what's going on here. And what they don't understand, the Democrats, the political establishment, the media, none of these people understand why Trump is so popular, why we love him, why we voted for him, and why he won. They don't understand it. They don't understand it because they're so consumed with anger. Anger, hate. Those are terrible emotions. Anger, hate, hatred of him, hatred of the American people, looking down the nose at the American people. And anger, hate, it's like you're high on drugs. It's like being intoxicated. You don't think clearly, and they're not thinking clearly. They made a tremendous error yesterday. Tremendous error yesterday. This impeachment looks like what it is, a coup, a continuation of the coup. And the coup is not stopped since he won the election. They began right after he won the election with the coup, when Comey took the fake dossier and tried to do a shakedown of the president and said, you can play ball with us, or we can, and this dossier will go away, or you can do what it is you do, and we'll have to open up an investigation. Started from day one, moved into the Mueller investigation, and here we are again with impeachment. And this is not my thought. I read an article about this morning online. I can't remember where. I may have tweeted it. By the way, if you follow me on Twitter, Brian Craig Show on Twitter, you'll get 99.9% of my show prep. Articles that I read that I think I'm going to talk about on the show or on my podcast, I tweet them all day long. Brian Craig Show on Twitter. I'm also on Facebook and everything too, pretty active there as well. And my website, briancraigshow.com. briancraigshow.com has links to my social media pages, and as well as my podcast, which you should all listen to. Uploaded a new episode of my podcast last night, over 860 podcast episodes that I host with my wife from our studio at home, and you should definitely be subscribing to my podcast. Would appreciate it if you do. Been podcasting now for, I don't know, close to 8 years, 7 years, 8 years. I know it's a lot of podcast episodes, and pretty darn good show. And I know a lot of you are already subscribed, obviously. Thank you so much for supporting my podcast. But if you don't, check it out, the Brian Craig Show podcast on most podcast platforms. And check out my website, briancraigshow.com. But the Democrats, now this is what I read in an article this morning. This was not my original thinking. I always like to give credit to others, although I can't remember what article this was in. But the thought from this column I read this morning was right on the money. The last time Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats pushed something on the American people that they did not want, do you know what that was? What is the last time Nancy Pelosi and the House Democrats pushed something through through crooked dealings that the American people did not want. Do you remember what it was? Obamacare. Obamacare. That's right. People did not want it. They bribed and blackmailed members of Congress to get it through. And what happened? What happened? When they pushed through against the will of the American people Obamacare, they lost control of the House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi was no longer the speaker. And we're going to see a replay of that this time. And it's time for the Tea Parties to start having their rallies again, or whatever they call themselves today. It's time for the conservative Facebook groups to start organizing their base. We're coming up on Christmas. The entire Congress is coming home, and there need to be demonstrations around this country showing people the support that they have for Donald Trump. And not only will Donald Trump be reelected, we're going to maintain the Senate, no doubt about that, but it's vital to regain control of the House of Representatives. And the last time the Democrats did this, they lost the House of Representatives. And I think it's very likely to have a replay of that. You know what I'd really like to see are these national radio talk show hosts, including the Never Trumpers, Rush Limbaugh, Mark Levin, Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, have a massive rally of support for this president in Washington, D.C., at the National Mall at the Lincoln Memorial. They can do it. Now, if they can put their egos aside and cooperate and have a show of support with one another and do that, I don't know. But that would be spectacular. That would be so amazing, wouldn't it? And there could be others too, but the big nationally syndicated radio talk show host, if they did that, that would be amazing and it would be powerful. Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, Glenn Beck, who are some of the other big syndicated guys that are around these days? Any other names you want to add to that? But that would be huge, especially with Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh would have to be the leader and the headliner of that. And I think that would be absolutely amazing. And it would be an event that we have not seen in the Washington Mall of Conservatives since Glenn Beck's 2010 rally. Now, there's a lot of egos involved and jealousies and competition and all of that. But that would be amazing. That would be amazing. All right, listen. Our number is toll free. I want to hear your thoughts on everything that's going on. 1-888-GO-KANE-1. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call from anywhere. My name's Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire.
Who?
At Friendly Tire, just $75
Who, Beverly?
a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's
Oh,
car,
yeah.
$135 at the shops
profanity,
around
that's
town.
no
The
good.
price at Friendly Tire
That's
is
no good.
$65. That's a $70 savings.
No,
per
my other
tire.
device is
These
dead.
prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
Make sure you guys all subscribe.
FriendlyTire.net.
This is Steve Kane. When it comes to looking your best, sometimes you need a little extra help. Dr. Nathan at the Nathan Clinic is a renowned plastic surgeon here in South Florida who will bring out your most beautiful self. Dr. Nathan, highly skilled, knows how to reveal your inner beauty and make you look your absolute best. As a board-certified plastic surgeon, people come from miles around just because of his extraordinary skills and his caring bedside manner. Dr. Nathan performs breast breast augmentations, facelifts, Botox, tummy tucks, liposuction, and much, much more. Visit his website. Read the testimonials from his patients. They love Dr. Nathan, and you will too. He has years of experience and impressive credentials that make Dr. Nathan the only plastic surgeon you need visit. He'll advise you and tell you the best course of action so that you will always remain true to who you are. You can contact Dr. Nathan for a no-charge consultation by calling 305
Well, profanity and things like that.
680-5121. That's area code 305-680-5121 or online at drnathan.com. Tell him you heard it on the Steve Kane Show.
Did you know that your skin is your largest organ? Yet, it's probably the most neglected. Living in South Florida means having an annual checkup for skin cancer is vital. We live in the Sunshine State after all, and our skin bears the brunt of the sunshine. It's time to have your annual skin checkup. There's no better doctor to take care of this for you.
Did you guys see this hijacking in Miami yesterday?
Is a board-certified dermatologist, and when it comes to caring for your skin and making sure that it is healthy as possible and skin cancer-free, you want Dr. Mendez as your personal dermatologist. Dr. Mendez is caring and very knowledgeable. Your annual skin cancer exam is covered by Medicare. Dr. Mendez also takes most other insurances. Steve Kane recently had his
the
annual
UPS
skin
guy.
cancer checkup. It was easy breezy. Dr. Mendez examined him from head to toe, took off a few things, and now Steve is good to go. Call Dr. Mendez right now at
It was all over national news. I was surprised.
954-431-7681. When you call, make sure to ask for Sarah. She takes extra good care of Steve Kane listeners and will get you an appointment
Hey, Nick.
fast. Early detection of skin cancer can save your life. Call Dr. Mendez right now at 954-431-7681. 954-431-7681.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on radio. Just search for WW.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Brian Craig here with you. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. By the way, Friendly Tire open on Saturdays over there in Margate. Friendly Tire open on Saturdays. So if you can't get in there during the week, stop into Friendly Tire on Saturday. Their website, friendlytire.net. And, of course, you can call Friendly Mike, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Friendly Tire in Margate, open on Saturdays. Did you guys, I'm sure you did, it was national news that UPS truck hijacking and shootout in Miami yesterday? You know, what a terrible story. Here's the headline, Miami Herald. Robbery suspects, hostage and bystander killed after hijacking and dramatic police chase. And I got a question about this. Let me play the audio. There's some audio here. Let me play this. Just a little bit of audio of the shootout between cops and these hijacker robbers. That popping, those are gunshots. The Spanish, I don't know. It's Miami. I don't know if it's the cops. Armed robbers hijacked a UPS truck. This is the Miami Herald after a robbery in Coral Gables, leading police cars on a chase up Interstate 75 that ended Thursday night in a dramatic and deadly shootout on a busy street. The FBI Thursday night acknowledged that 4 people were killed. The 2 robbers killed, a UPS driver who was being held hostage in that getaway truck that they hijacked, and a bystander who was inside an idling car at the scene of the shootout. An image captured by the Miami Herald showed someone dead behind the wheel of a dark-colored sedan, its windows covered up by authorities. In one bystander video that surfaced Thursday night online, the sedan appeared to have just turned right at the intersection, about 350 feet away from the UPS truck. Terrible, so just an innocent person. The FBI agent in charge offered his condolences to the innocent victims, declined to say whether bullets fired by robbers or the police killed the UPS driver and the bystander. He said it would be inappropriate to discuss that. The head of Miami-Dade's police union said 11 officers from the department opened fire only after the robbers started firing first at the final crime scene. It's unfortunate that the bystanders were killed. This is the Herald. But the bad guys put all this in motion, said the president of the Miami-Dade Police Benevolent Association. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families of the 2 innocent bystanders. The dramatic chase from Coral Gables and the final firefight were broadcast live by television news helicopters. Footage showed a terrifying scene at the peak of rush hour as the UPS truck slowed to a stop on Miramar Parkway near Flamingo Road, which, by the way, is right down the street from Steve's house. Steve lives right down the street from this. In the midst of a cluster of stopped cars shortly after 5:30 p.m. News cameras zoomed in on the passenger side of the truck, showed the small burst of light and smoke from the gunfire. Several flashes followed as a man's leg became visible from the door, followed by another man climbing over him and an arm over his head for protection. Another view from the other side of the van showed cops rushing in. Soon more than 20 officers were descending on men lying next to the vehicle. It goes on and on. Any details on what had happened? A law enforcement source told the Miami Herald the robber fired into the floor and the bullet ricocheted, hitting a female employee in the store where this robbery occurred. She had a minor wound. As the men were fleeing, gunfire broke out between the robbers and the owner of the jewelry store. At least one bullet flew towards Coral Gables City Hall across the street. The bullet ricocheted off the wall, landed on a floor. The UPS truck was carjacked soon after the shootout at the robbery scene. The individuals abducted the driver of the truck as well as the truck itself. Police officers soon found the UPS truck, which made its way up Florida's Turnpike, then Okeechobee Road, then onto Interstate 75 into Broward County. The robbers shot at police during the chase. The truck exited, weaved its way through the streets, at one point breaking through a traffic arm into Century Village. We've got a lot of listeners in Century Village, all while being followed by a long stream of police cars. When the truck finally stopped and traffic gridlocked, the robbers appeared to open fire on police. After the shooting, paramedics rushed to treat the injured men. At least one person was airlifted to a trauma center. Oh, my goodness. I am very pro-police. Don't get me wrong. I am very pro-police. And I think most of you are too. If you support Trump, you're pro-police, right? Conservatives are pro-police. But what the hell happened here? I understand there was a hostage situation, and there were gunshots at the site of the robbery, and police had to, follow this. But we don't have any answers yet. But what is it's possible? I hope not, but it's possible that the bystander and the UPS driver were killed from police bullets. I hope that is not true. I mean, what a sad story out of Miami. What a terrible story. But should the police have gotten involved in this close of a chase? Could they not have fallen back a little bit until they were in a safer space? I don't know. I don't want to Monday morning quarterback the police, but I know that area. It's right down the street from Steve Kane's house where the final shootout happened. And it's an area that during rush hour is a parking lot. And for the police to rush in and have these guys trapped at a busy intersection during afternoon rush hour, I don't know if that was the smartest move to make. And again, I'm not Monday morning quarterbacking, but if we have anyone who is with law enforcement or has law enforcement experience, I know, cross that thin blue line and all of that. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Could they have hung back? Knowing that area, it seems to me that they would have ended up somewhere either back on I-75 or University or somewhere else on Flamingo Road that would have been a little more open, where something could have been done. But that's a very busy intersection at that time because I-75 lets off over there, and that's a very busy exit for I-75. I've taken that exit so many times. I was just there the other day. It's right down the street from Steve's house. It's, I think it's one exit south of Steve's house off of I-75. Seems to me the police in Dade County may have made a mistake by getting too close into these guys and forcing these trapped animals into a desperate situation where the shootout began at a busy intersection. Everybody loves to be a Monday morning quarterback, and I'm not that type of person. I don't want to condemn police. We don't know. There's a lot of information we don't know, but it seems to me that a mistake very well may have been made by the Miami-Dade police that were involved in this hot pursuit. Your thoughts on that certainly welcome as well. 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's Kane with a K, K-A-N-E, and the number 1-888-465-2631. Let's take a call before we break. Good morning.
This is Mike.
Hey, Mike.
I don't want to speak on this thing because, like you said, I don't want a Monday morning quarterback the cops, and it would be better for us if we wait to talk about this until maybe Steve comes in, since he lives in that area and he knows it. You know.
I don't know about that. I mean, it's been on television. We've seen it. It's a national story. And no, it's something we got to talk about, and especially because it was here in South Florida where we broadcast from. It's something we've got to. I think we've got to talk about.
Radicals who are in the Al Greens, the Maxine Waters, even to some extent the Presleys and the squads that are basically running the party right now in Congress. I mean, that press conference made her look like an absolutely blithering idiot.
Yeah, especially when she threatened the reporter at the end. Don't mess with me.
And that's the thing, this guy. I think in her heart of hearts, she would rather take this vote. They're going to take the vote anyway, but she would rather take the vote.
I blocked him from the channel. That's the same guy I blocked before. Fake.
If you take the vote before the holidays, you know what's going to happen. That somewhere after the first, probably within 2 weeks,
James Rosen.
That's when the investigation in the Senate and possibly even a trial would happen.
Well, you know what I was wondering? I heard this from Judge Napolitano, who was so giddy yesterday after Nancy Pelosi's press conference. And Napolitano was talking with, I think it was David Asman, and I'm not sure who he was talking to actually yesterday. I'd forgotten. But anyway, Napolitano was talking about the possibility that in the Senate trial after the impeachment, that President Trump may go in person and testify and speak at his trial in the Senate. You think that might happen? Can you see him going down there and doing that?
Well, I think it might happen because there's no way he was going to come in before, he or anybody in his administration was going to come in before the idiots in the House right now, the Nadlers and those people, because they know they're not going to get a fair shot to speak.
Well, I got to tell you, I would very much, see this. Now this is Democrats made a lot of mistakes here, and one of the mistakes that I don't know if they're so angry, they're so consumed with rage that they're not seeing things clearly. Once they vote on impeachment and say it passes, which I don't think is a given, it may not pass. There's a lot of Democrats out there that are afraid about losing the re-election by voting in favor of this, and it may not pass. Don't assume it's going to pass. Maybe it's most likely it will, but if once impeachment is passed, okay, and it goes to the Senate, Hillary, might as well be Hillary, Pelosi, Pizza the Hut, Nadler, Schiff, the Democrats, they lose control of the entire process from that point forward. Once it goes to the Republicans in the Senate, they no longer have any power to hide witnesses, gavel people shut, stop witnesses from being called. It's going to be a whole nother ball game. And if there is a Senate trial, I think what we're going to find, and it's going to shock the Democrats, it's not going to be President Trump on trial. It's going to be the Democrats in the House of Representatives, Adam Schiff, Fat Boy Nadler, Nancy Pelosi, and all the rest, they'll be the ones on trial. And they're going to be totally out of control of the situation and the narrative. And it's going to come as a shock to them. Because Republicans seem pretty united.
You know, and that's another reason why she probably didn't want to have this vote take place now, because then if you have it take place after the holidays, even after the first, you could string it out even more and try and string it out to the point of, well, it's right before the election, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, I got to tell you, this trial, a Senate trial, when the Senate in a Senate trial calls Hunter Biden as a witness, Joe Biden as a witness, when they call Adam Schiff as a witness, the Democrats are going to try to block all this, and they're going to challenge things in this court and that court. It's going to make its way to the Supreme Court. This is going to be a complete disaster for the Democrats.
To tell you the truth, Brian, I think this is the main reason why Kamala Harris dropped out, because she knows that she knows that this trial is going to happen, and she knows that she's not going to be, even though she kind of, ran out of money and all that stuff, but let's just say for the sake of argument, she had the money, she probably would have made the same decision to drop out now, because she knows that she's not going to be able to run for president while a trial is going on in the Senate.
Well, once the Republicans are in charge of the process, which will happen in the Senate, it's going to be a big awakening for the Democrats. And I'm going to stick by what this column I read this morning, that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats have done a replay of Obamacare, pushing something on the American people that is unpopular, that they don't want. And it cost them the control of the House last time, and I see it happening again. All right, Mike, I got to run for a break, but thanks for the call. Your calls certainly are welcome on what we're talking about now, the impeachment, and also your thoughts on did the Dade County Police act appropriately cornering these robbers in the UPS truck yesterday? UPS driver dead, a bystander dead. Did the police corner these rats? Was that a mistake? 1-888-GO-KANE 1, toll free call 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350.
Oh, my wife recorded a commercial yesterday for My Pillow. It's coming up in a minute, so guys, listen for it.
Trust with attorney Barry Siegel. He will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino Italian Restaurant in Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Group, with 9 offices in South Florida, including Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs. Call 1-855-FLA-3782.
Did you know that your skin is your largest organ? Yet, it's probably the most neglected. Living in South Florida means having an annual checkup for skin cancer is vital. We live in the Sunshine State after all, and our skin bears the brunt of the sunshine. It's time to have your annual skin checkup. There's no better doctor to take care of this.
No, that person that was blocked was the person that got blocked before. Same person, 2 accounts. I don't like blocking people, but some of these people are out of control. You got to do it sometimes. I really don't like to block people.
Dr. Mendez as your personal dermatologist. Dr. Mendez is caring and very knowledgeable. Your annual skin cancer exam is covered by Medicare. Dr. Mendez also takes most other insurances. Steve KANE recently had his annual skin cancer checkup. It was easy breezy. Dr. Mendez examined him from head to toe, took off a few things, and now Steve is good to go. Call Dr. Mendez right now at 954-431-7681. 954-431-7681. When you call, make sure to ask for Sarah. She takes extra good care of Steve KANE listeners and will get you an appointment fast. Early detection of skin cancer can save your life. Call Dr. Mendez right now at 954-431-7681. 954-431-7681.
Okay, my wife's commercial's coming up now for My Pillow. I think it's pretty good.
Hey guys, this is Kathy, Brian's wife. Last year I got Brian a MyPillow for Christmas and it was his favorite present.
That's right, Kathy. In fact, I loved MyPillow so much, I got you one and Emily one the following week. And then a few months later, I got a MyPillow pet bed for our dog Nina.
Our entire household sleeps on a MyPillow.
That's
and
right,
I have
Nick.
to say, a MyPillow will give you the best sleep of your life.
It's not just height. There's a reason the MyPillow is so popular. It will actually help you sleep deeper and you will wake up rested.
If you're looking for the perfect gift for someone you care about, a MyPillow is the way to go.
And if you know someone with pets,
Well,
a
thank you,
MyPillow
Beverly.
pet bed
Thanks,
is a
Nick.
great gift.
There are so many awesome products at MyPillow.com. You're bound to find the perfect gift for everyone on your list, and they can be shipped directly to the recipient.
When you order at MyPillow.com, make sure to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, for great radio discounts like the BOGO 2-for-1 MyPillow offer. Buy one MyPillow and get the second one for free when you use the promo code KANE. And pet beds, just $19.99 when you use the promo code KANE at checkout.
This Christmas, make it a MyPillow Christmas.
Order at MyPillow.com or
Thank you,
call
guys.
1-800-716-4879. From our house to your house. Merry Christmas.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for
All right, we are back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. Yeah, that was my wife on that last commercial for MyPillow. I think that may be the first time my wife's recorded a commercial for the show. We recorded that at home yesterday. I can't remember her doing another one. I think that's the first one. I think it came out pretty well, and I hope you all are ordering your MyPillows. Make sure you use that promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. And there is no company out there that is more pro-President Trump than MyPillow. And you're supporting Trump, a very pro-Trump company with MyPillow, and of course the Steve Kane Show. And the MyPillow people have been so impressed by the reaction and overwhelming response to their advertising campaign here on the Steve Kane Show. So thank you so much. Use that promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com. Oh boy, yeah. So then Pelosi went on CNN with Tapper and had this, what was it, a town hall on impeachment? What the hell was that? I mean, what's going on here? And I'll play a clip or two from it. Hold on, let me play. This is the first one. This is Pelosi last night.
If you wake up the day after Election Day 2020 and exit polls show that impeaching President Trump helped him get reelected, would you have any regrets?
No, this isn't about politics at all. This is about patriotism. It's not about partisanship. It's about honoring our oath of office.
Okay. I mean, to say that it's not about politics is just a joke. I mean, I'm surprised the audience didn't erupt in laughter at that, because that's exactly what it is. It's about politics. But, this thing that the Democrats are doing now, wrapping themselves around the Constitution, our founding fathers, and patriotism. And I often tell people, whenever in government they wrap themselves around the flag, the Constitution, and our founders, watch out, because they're doing everything the opposite of what they claim to be doing. In fact, the liberals hate the founding fathers. They hate the framers. They hate the Constitution. They've been telling us my entire life, the Democrats, that the Constitution was written by white slave owners for the benefit of white slave owners to maintain white supremacy. Right? How often have you heard, now all of a sudden they have all of this incredible respect for the framers of our Constitution? It's absurd, and it's a joke. The framers, the Constitution, patriotism. Oh boy. And Jake Tapper's question about Trump's popularity and re-election because of impeachment, that tells you that they understand what it is they're doing. At least some in the mainstream Democrat Trump-hating media understand that impeaching the president's a bad idea. Let's go on a little bit, see what else she had to say.
If you wake up the day after Election Day 2020 and exit polls show that impeaching President Trump helped him get reelected, would you have any regrets?
No, this isn't about politics at all. This is about patriotism.
Awesome, Nick.
It's not about partisanship. It's about honoring our oath of office. This is the first president has committed all of these things, as the constitutional experts said yesterday. Nobody ever even come close. Not Richard Nixon even came close to his dishonoring his own oath of office. So
Now, I don't you love now, this is another thing, too, that the left and the Democrats have, not even Richard Nixon. All of a sudden, they're becoming supporters of Richard Nixon, and they're defending Richard Nixon. They're telling us that Watergate was overblown. This is worse than Watergate. You know, President Nixon was a great, honorable man. I wish I could have met President Nixon. What a great guy he was, and he's got such a bad rep. Him and poor Joe McCarthy, they have these terrible reputations. Both of them great guys, doing the right thing, fighting the left, and that's why they hated them and went after both of them. But all of a sudden, they're big defenders of President Nixon.
own oath of office. So no, this isn't, politics is not even a consideration in this. This is about protect and defend the Constitution. I truly believe, and you too, I truly believe that the times have found us to save our democracy.
What? What did she say? Who found this? What?
Protect and defend the Constitution. I truly believe, and you too, I truly believe that the times have found us to save our democracy.
The times have found us to save our democracy? Is that what she's saying?
Defend our democracy for the people.
And there's no better, this is amazing. They're defending our democracy. And what better way to defend our democracy than overturning the will of the American people in a national election? They're trying to overturn the last election, right? And monkey around with the next election, but they're defending democracy. Their whole problem is that we're in a democracy. And I don't want to hear any people, we're not in a democracy, it's a republic. It's a representative democracy and a republic. It's both, okay? You can be both. And we're both. And that's a great follow. Well, wait a minute. You're defending democracy, Madam Speaker. I like calling her a madam because when you think of a madam, you think of a whorehouse. And the House of Representatives, the Democrats in it, are a bunch of whores and whoremongers the way they're acting. So I like calling her Madam Speaker. But the follow-up question to that is, Madam Speaker Pelosi, you say you're defending democracy. Are you not trying to overturn a national election? Why not let democracy play out in the next election next year, since you're such a great defender of America's democracy? But Chapper just sits there.
No, this isn't, politics is not even a consideration in this. This is about protect and defend the Constitution. I truly believe, and you too, I truly believe that the times have found us to save our democracy. Defend our democracy for the people. If we didn't, we would no longer. On September 17, 1787, was the day that the Constitution was ratified, was adopted.
Goodness.
When Benjamin Franklin came out on the steps of Independence Hall and said, "What do we have, Mr. Franklin?" He said, they said, "A monarchy or a republic?" He said, "A republic, if you can keep it." Well, this is a challenge to that republic, because left to his own devices, this president is taking us away from a system of checks and balance. Article 2, he said I can do whatever I want, I repeat. That's not what the Constitution says.
I know constitutional expert, and Article 2 of the Constitution, which outlines the presidential powers. I believe what he was talking about then, and if I'm wrong, please call and let me know. But when he talked about Article 2, was the president not talking about how he had the right to fire Mueller? Isn't that what he was? My recollection is he was talking about he could fire Mueller if he wanted to. Article 2 lets him do whatever he wants. He was talking about that, and he didn't do it. So what are these, thought police now? Because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like the thought police. Let's finish up with Madam Speaker Pelosi.
Constitution says. And so for him to ignore the oversight and the questions of Congress, for him to take money appropriated by the House and the Senate in a bipartisan way for military assistance to Ukraine, which was a country
By the way, he gave the money to Ukraine. He gave the money to Ukraine. So they didn't withhold anything. Oh, boy.
Country under assault is a country under assault from Russia. Then it was 11,000, probably 13,000 people now killed by Russian aggression, and he's withholding the funds that could help them defend themselves.
He gave them the money. He gave them the money. He didn't withhold it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. All right, listen, we're going to take our last break of the first hour. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977. Our number is toll-free 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Right now, the U.S. is in the midst of a deadly opioid epidemic. In South Florida alone, someone suffers an overdose every 2 hours, either from heroin, fentanyl, or some other prescription medication that's as close as the family medicine cabinet. In fact, Mom and Dad's medicine cabinet is frequently the gateway to the horrors of hardcore addiction down the road. Drug problems left unattended are only going to get worse. This is not something you can do on your own. You need expert professional help, and if your family is disintegrating in front of your eyes and you feel helpless, I'm here to tell you that help is available. Call my good friend Sal at the Edge Recovery, 561 area code 523-4325. This is his personal cell phone, 561-523-4325. If your loved one refuses treatment, the Edge Recovery will conduct an intervention and get them into the treatment plan that they need. The Edge Recovery offers every option, from intervention to 30-day rehab to sober living to counseling with a licensed therapist, as well as group therapy treatment. It's covered by most insurance, but no matter what your situation is, the Edge Recovery has options for you. Call Sal at the Edge Recovery. Do it today. 561 area code 523-4325. Again, that's Sal's personal cell phone, 561-523-4325.
Will reimburse payments up to a total of $1,800 based on purchase and MSRP on approved credit. Excludes tax, tag time, includes $8.99 dealer fee. Offer ends 12/31/19.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the rematch of the praise
Steve
fight of the century. In this corner, the reigning 5-time champ, Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 for SCT. And in this corner, challengers from every other manufacturer. The challengers come out swinging, but Toyota of Hollywood delivers a crushing blow by selling Toyotas at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used.
50% less.
A pre-owned 2019 Camry SE, not $28,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $21,000, $12,775. Buy any new Toyota and we'll make your payments for 12 months. At Toyota of Hollywood, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
This is Lori Kane.
So, man, I bought a new flash drive. I paid more money for than any flash drive I've ever had because I wanted, like, the maximum memory and speed because I use flash drives so much, and I lost it. I'm so pissed off, and I'm using this backup flash drive that I got at Five Below. It's like using dial-up speeds when I transfer something to it.
My appointment for the next Saturday because Brighton Dental has Saturday appointments.
I cannot find this damn flash drive anywhere.
And I will
Pisses
be
me
a
off.
patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Kane listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry
I know.
about the
Drives
cost.
me nuts.
So call Brighton Dental
Now I gotta go buy another one.
954-922-4630.
I use flash drive all day long for different things.
You can visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Kane sent you.
It's driving me nuts. I was tearing the house up for it this morning. It's gone. All right, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. Don't forget, Friendly Tire open on Saturdays. If you can't make it into Friendly Tire in Margate during the week, Friendly Tire open on Saturdays. Their website, friendlytire.net, and you can give Friendly Mike a call, 954-977-9445, if you have any questions. Let's go to Steve in Royal Palm. Hey, Steve, good morning.
Morning. First off, I don't want to talk about the shooting in Miramar, but I want to hear about crazy things in New York City in the 70s. There was a John and Al Sporting Goods. New York City police actually brought in an armored personnel carrier, tracked armored vehicle, to a shootout in Brooklyn, I think it was. At the end of the results, all the hostages escaped on their own, and there were bullet holes everywhere, including in the tank. But
well, you know, well, here's the thing with this shooting yesterday with the UPS truck. Coral Gables is very far from where that shooting happened, and it's amazing to me that there was. I know it went across county lines and jurisdictions, but there seemed to be a lack of organization, leadership, and communication between different agencies to block off an area where that truck was going. It seems to be a cluster, you know what, to me, and some just quite possibly incompetence by law enforcement. But anyway, I don't know. We'll find out more. I don't want to. I'm a big supporter of the police, but I don't know. That seemed to be a big screw up yesterday. And for that, the UPS driver, the hostage, is terrible enough, but a poor bystander at the intersection in their car, my lord.
Things like that. But with regard with Pelosi, I think what they're trying to do is they're doing a flanking action like a military does. So you have your units, you put them on the left, you put them on the right, and then your main action will go through. What they're afraid of is Trump. That's the main thing, Trump. And they're trying to wear this guy down, whether it's mentally, physically, it's his voter base. Because if you look at what's going on in the rest of the world, look at what the UN's trying to do to us, look what the other countries are trying to do with us, especially China. Russia's a big player. That's why they're pointing at Russia. Because Russia, although Russia is a big country and it has a lot of power, it's not our problem. It's the Chinese. And they're trying to take away from what the Chinese are doing. If you look at the UN, what Obama did with the UN, where they're trying to take your guns away through the UN Act.
Well, you know, Steve, I'll tell you, when getting into the Ukraine and all this talk about Ukraine, to me, I just saw a story the other day. Pelosi's son was on the board of some Ukrainian. You know, the Ukraine seems to have been used by the political people in Washington in a similar way that the Clintons used Haiti. It looks like they were taking a great advantage of Ukraine and raping the damn place to enrich themselves.
Well, it's called money laundering.
Yeah.
Politicians are able to come out of office. They make $180,000 a year. And when they come out, they're all multi-millionaires. I wish I could do that with my salaries.
Well, but the problem is you're not a crook like these politicians are. You're an honest guy, and you couldn't do it even if you had the opportunity in front of you. You wouldn't do it because you're not a crook.
Well, you know, they go into politics. I don't know. Maybe they want to do good, or maybe they understand this is how I make money real quick. But this is what the Pelosi thing is. It's a flanking situation. They're trying to take away, and if they can wear down Trump, unfortunately, Pence, he'll fold like a freaking cheap rug. And next step is who moves in the speaker of that.
Yeah, that's their plan. I was talking about this on my podcast last night. The long game that the Democrats are playing is, and I picked this up when Napolitano was talking about Trump testifying in his Senate trial, which is absurd. The Democrats, they don't see things clearly because they're so consumed with their hatred of Trump. They have this fantasy in their mind that Trump is going to testify at his Senate trial and he's going to have a meltdown like Jack Nicholson and A Few Good Men, and they're going to be able to and the Republicans will have to remove him then. And Pence, they'll have Pence impeached because he's connected to all of this, and they think they're going to plug Pelosi in to be the president. They actually believe that, and Mitt Romney is going to vote with the Democrats in the Senate because he thinks he can be the nominee in 2020 again.
This is a race. This is a race because they feel if Trump gets reelected, which personally I believe it will, he's going to be a lame duck. And in history, lame duck presidents usually just sit on the side and go, okay, I got nothing to go for, and lay back. But what I think they're afraid of is after Trump comes, the Republican Party is going to be looking for someone who has the abilities, the gonads that Trump does. And you have a Nikki Haley, Trump Jr., DeSantis. You have people that are standing on the side youth that are just as powerful mentally, physically, and capable of doing what Trump does or close to it. And that's what they're afraid of. This could be a dynasty, a Trump dynasty for the next 20 years.
Well, you know, if you remember Ronald Reagan, they tried to impeach Ronald Reagan, too, over his handling of Russia when he walked out of that summit meeting in Reykjavik, Iceland with Gorbachev. And the Democrats, anytime there's a popular Republican, they try to impeach them. The only reason they didn't try to impeach George W. Bush is because of 9/11 and we were in a hot war situation and they couldn't do it.
In Sunrise, all those people walking around with the neon shirts.
Yeah. I've never, I was talking about this yesterday, Steve. I've never seen people at a Republican event registering people to vote. That was the first time I'd ever seen that. I've never seen that before. That's new.
The Republican Party is starting to understand that's what they got to get. They got to do what the Democrats are doing, signing up people. When I was driving a bus, I go down to the one of the bus terminals over in Plantation. They had dozens of people signing up people to vote for the Democrats. I looked around, and if you walked up and said, I'm going to be a Republican, they wouldn't even talk to you.
Yeah.
37,000 new Republican voters got signed up from that Sunrise thing. It was the most amazing thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, I got to run for the top of the hour, Steve in Royal Palm, but thanks for the call. Steve was with us on the cruise last month. All right, we'll take our break at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we'll be in a few seconds. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
Talk Network is 95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach.
Will reimburse payments up to a total of $1,800 based on purchase and MSRP on approved credit. Excludes tax, tag time, and includes $8.99 dealer fee. Offer in store 3119.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the rematch of the praise fight of the century. In this corner, the reigning 5-time champ, Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 for SCT. And in this corner, challengers from every other manufacturer. The challengers come out swinging, but Toyota of Hollywood delivers a crushing blow by selling Toyotas at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used.
50% less.
A pre-owned 2019 Camry SE, not $28,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $21,000, $12,775. Buy any new Toyota and we'll make your payments for 12 months. At Toyota of Hollywood, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
This is Steve Kane. When it comes to looking your best, sometimes you need a little extra help. Dr. Nathan at the Nathan Clinic is a renowned plastic surgeon here in South Florida who will bring out your most beautiful self. Dr. Nathan, highly skilled, knows how to reveal your inner beauty and make you look your absolute best. He's a board-certified plastic surgeon. People come from miles around just because of his extraordinary skills and his caring bedside manner. Dr. Nathan performs breast augmentations, facelifts, Botox, tummy tucks, liposuction, and much, much more. Visit his website. Read the testimonials from his patients. They love Dr. Nathan, and you will too. He has years of experience and impressive credentials that make Dr. Nathan the only plastic surgeon you need to visit. He'll advise you and tell you the best course of action so that you will always remain true to who you are. You can contact Dr. Nathan for a no-charge consultation by calling 305 area code 680-5121. That's area code 305-680-5121 or online at drnathan.com. Tell him you heard it on the Steve Kane Show.
The Medicare open enrollment period is here. Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080, 954-753-8080, and allow her to educate and guide you through the many plans, choices, and cost considerations. I Will Advisors represents all major insurance companies, not just a single carrier, so they will make sure you choose the best option for you. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors at 954-753-8080, 954-753-8080. The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350 for single people, $450 for married couples. When you complete your trust with attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino Italian Restaurant in Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Group, with 9 offices in South Florida, including Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs. Call 1-855-FLA-3782. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
The Steve Kane Show is live in Morning Drive, 6 till 9 a.m. weekdays, and overnights, midnight till 6 a.m., 7 nights a week. To call the show toll free,
Yes. All right, we are back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977, hour number 2 has begun. Let's go back to the phones. Richie, the bus driver, you're on the radio.
Yeah, good morning. I think I figured this whole thing out. All right? Now, hear me out. President Trump he got out of the Paris Accords. Climate change. All these worldwide politicians, including our politicians, have major investments globally for all these green energy companies that they want to form and that are up and running now. And I guarantee you that's the biggest. He's cost them so much money by pulling out of the Paris Accords, and he's against this climate change crap. And I believe, follow the money, I believe that's one of the major reasons, and I think that this cry for climate change throughout this country is a way to make these politicians richer and richer because they're all invested in these companies.
Well, it's what they said, follow the money. And, you're right about, it's about many things like that. The NAFTA being tossed out, the new trade deal that we'll have with China. The corporations that control Congress through legal bribery of political donations, they don't want these talk about this a lot. These out-of-balance trade deals are not because of the incompetence of our government. The out-of-balance trade deals are because the U.S. government has sold out, and these huge corporations have an entire business model, a business plan based on these out-of-balance trade deals, and they don't want any of them overturned because it affects them royally in the pocketbook. And you're right about the climate change crap too. It's a money grab, and it's Trump has turned their world upside down.
Exactly, and you remember Black Friday? They protested Black Friday. We shop too much.
Yeah.
It's out of control. And Nancy Pelosi, this is a railroad job. You could see it, and the Constitution. I thought her dentures were going to pull out of her mouth yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like the Grim Reaper.
Praising the slave-holding founding fathers. Oh, my goodness. The slave-holding founding fathers are now the model for the Democrats. I love it.
It's really...
Now, Richie, do you have any thoughts? Did the police screw up in this Miami shootout with the UPS driver? Did the police screw up there?
No. And I'll tell you why. Because as soon as they left the jewelry store, they started shooting. One lady down at the jewelry store got hit. And there was a bullet that went into the city.
Yes.
They carjacked a person.
Yeah.
So total disregard for human life. They had, I don't know what kind of weapons. I believe
But wait a minute. They were on I-75. They were on Okeechobee Road, and then they got on I-75 and took I-75 north into Broward. Why did the police in Broward? Why were the exits of I-75 and I-75 not shut down?
But I'll tell you,
it's a long drive from Coral Gables.
I-75 was a lot of vehicles out there, and they were zipping in and out with that UPS truck. They had hijacked that, and they had the back door open, and they were firing.
Yeah.
They were firing at the police, which they had total disregard for anyone else.
I was driving on the turnpike a few months back up to Orlando, and I saw what I've never seen before. There was a major car accident in the southbound lane, and the police had the Florida Turnpike, a section of the Florida Turnpike shut down without a single car on it. That was about 15 or 20 miles long, and they did it very quickly. No, I'm telling you, the Coral Gables to Pembroke Road is a...
On I-95, they stopped all the traffic behind You know how we piled up in 5 seconds? There was 1,000 cars piled.
No. But Coral Gables to where the shootout happened, okay, on Flamingo Road, that's a long drive. And they were on I-75. There's only so many routes. They were heading north. And it, to me, and again, I'm open to be wrong about this. It seems that there was not communication between the Miami-Dade police and the Broward County authorities to shut down the damn 75, which is not hard to do.
There were 11 agencies involved, I understand.
Well, they weren't coordinating very well. And to have a shootout in a crowd, one of the busiest Flamingo Road in rush hour is one of the busiest intersections we have in Broward County during rush hour, and I've never seen. I think the police screwed up. Well, the hostage is one thing, okay. I understand they had the hostage, but if they would have, if they would have shut down 75 and had the exits blocked and had people exit. And put those spikes out or bury, they may not have been able to save the hostage, but to have a shootout at a crowded intersection.
There were so many cars in front of them. There were so many good.
You get two state troopers on 75. You can route everybody off the exit and have a thing shut down for miles. There's not that many exits.
In front of the.
Yeah. You don't bring them to a busy intersection. It seems to me they kind of push them into this busy intersection. And I'll tell you, I've seen the video of these Miami-Dade cops. Who's speaking Spanish? Is it the police or the guy making the video? I don't know. No, I think there was, now again, the heat of the thing and everything, you know, I'd hate to Monday morning quarterback police, but.
I wanted to call you again yesterday, but I didn't because.
Okay. Zimmerman. I knew Zimmerman. Yeah, Steve doesn't like us talking about Zimmerman.
You keep on saying the same thing. He was a child. Why would you wait? And I just wanted to ask you one question. I'm going to tell you right now, on Broward Boulevard, I used to pick up this guy who was in a coma for 30 days. He was shot in the chest right outside of Fort Lauderdale Police Station by a 15-year-old child on a bicycle. Sometimes you link children. Some of these children are more dangerous than adults.
Let me ask you, okay, so you talk about Trayvon Martin's height. I hear people bring this up. What is Barron's height in relation to Trayvon? Barron height has nothing to do with it. A child is a child. And Trayvon had no weapon, and he was being stalked by this fat guy who a few minutes later went on to kill him.
Thug.
What do you mean he was a thug?
If he was like Barron, okay.
Wait a minute. Why do you say Trayvon Martin was a thug?
Trayvon Martin was a thug. He had trouble in school.
Oh, please. He had trouble in school, so he deserved to die at the hands of Zimmerman?
He was a thug.
What was he doing that was thug-like the night that George Zimmerman killed him? I know that he was suspended from school and he was in possession of some jewelry that wasn't his in school, okay? So I'm not gonna deny, come on. But the night that George Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin, what thug-like behavior was Trayvon Martin doing that night? I think he just went to the store and was coming back to his dad's apartment.
Like you're gonna try to leave it to Beaver, right? Okay, he was stalked and he was singled out, and because of his attitude and his street the way he was raised up or whatever you want to call it, he attacked Zimmerman. So I mean,
well, Zimmerman was stalking him. And he had a gun. You know, I think the case that I think Trayvon Martin had good reason to fear George Zimmerman. He was stalking him and shot him dead a few minutes later. So
we're going to go through this again. He was 17 years old, and you call him a child.
Yes.
Thug.
Please.
That's the bottom line. Was he?
Please.
Yeah, he was killed. Zimmerman. I don't.
Zimmerman has a history of instigating people. Okay, he did it with his ex-wife. He did it with that guy that he had the run-in that had the road rage with him. He knows how he pushes people's buttons and then claims he didn't do anything wrong.
I agree with you. Let me ask you a question. If you were in a situation where somebody was following you in a vehicle, okay, would you confront that person or would you try to get away from that person?
Well, there were no vehicles. Trayvon Martin was walking at night in the dark in the apartment complex that he lived in with his father at the time. There were no vehicles.
Being followed, okay, he got
Yeah.
him off and confronted Zimmerman.
Because he had a grown fat man with a gun stalking him, and I think Trayvon had good reason to be fearful. And when you say if Trayvon Martin was white, the defenders of Zimmerman would have a totally different story. There's been no. I'm not one of these race hustlers, but when it comes to Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin, I hear a lot of negative stereotypes about black teenagers coming out.
I'm only going to ask you one question,
Steve KANE Show.
and you're dodging the question. Did he go directly home after he was confront Zimmerman? Did he?
No, he did. He was going directly home, and then Zimmerman was stalking him, and he scared him. That's what happened.
Sound like scared to be a creaky.
Now, Well, yeah, he had good reason to be scared. He killed him a few minutes after that.
Crackers follow me, and you're talking about some child is what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was a street thug from Miami, and you won't get over it. And
yeah.
The terrible thing that happened, it ended up bad, but he didn't go straight home. He could have.
Well, listen, it's not the old times of the South. Young black men in the dark are allowed to go out and be wherever the hell they want to be. They don't have to go directly home in the dark anymore. I know there was a time when black men in Florida had to do that, but it's not that way anymore. But now moving on to what's the update. What's your opinion of George Zimmerman suing Trayvon Martin's mother for $100 million?
Is that wrong?
Yeah.
Saying this whole thing ended up as a tragedy. It started with Zimmerman following him, okay? But it should have ended at that point when he had an...
Zimmerman was wrong. He was a neighborhood watch guy, and he had this... He's a wannabe cop with his concealed weapons permit. All right, Richie, I got to run. All right, take care. Bob Rice, you're on the radio. He doesn't like Zimmerman either, watch. I know Steve's going to kill me because Steve does not like me talking about Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. So I'm going to be in hot water.
I have to do it because this is what I felt. A witness said, you talk about this being a child. I watch college football, and there's 17 and 18-year-old guys who are playing college football who could break you and me and 4 other people in half at one time. So please stop making it that this is like a 3-year-old. Watch some college football and see what a 17, 18, and 19-year-olds can do. And you had a witness who said that this guy was on top of Zimmerman, pounding him.
Yeah, because he was about to be shot dead by Zimmerman, and he was unarmed, Trayvon. All he had were his fists.
Gee, Brian, well, you know what? It didn't say Zimmerman attacked him first. He must have been the one who attacked
Zimmerman. I can yeah.
To know what you would do if somebody who outweighed you, you had a gun in your pocket, somebody outweighed you 2 to 1, or at least size-wise, was twice as strong as you, and you're sitting there and thinking, I may die, but you wouldn't touch that gun.
Zimmerman put in place a series of events that led to this, okay? This was just a kid walking home to his dad's apartment, and Zimmerman, in the dark, was with a gun, was stalking him. And if Trayvon attacked Zimmerman first, I can own that. He had reason to fear him. He was stalking him, and a moment later killed him. So, I would say that a preemptive attack on Zimmerman was maybe warranted.
Was Zimmerman walking along with his gun, holding his gun out on the kid?
What was that, Bob? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
It was Zimmerman holding his gun on the kid as he stalked?
We don't know. And unfortunately, there's a lot we don't know because there's a lot we don't know about the final moments because there was no eyewitness. There was some people that heard things being yelled and things, but there was no eyewitness. But yeah.
In all fairness, I heard this through the whole thing. I heard a witness saying some huge kid, who's big, strong kid, is pounding the crap out of this guy. Now, if I had a gun, you're damn right I'd shoot him too.
But you're talking about a random attack, Bob. If you were following some 17-year-old kid around at night in the dark in his own apartment complex, that's different. You're talking about if you randomly, like if you pull up in front of your house, you're walking in and you get jumped, or you're in a parking lot at the mall. That's a different situation. There, you're a complete victim. Zimmerman was following Trayvon.
He didn't attack Trayvon. He was following.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's scary. It's pretty scary. When you're a kid, being followed by an adult is pretty. Right, Bob. I got to run for a break, but thanks for the call. If you're on hold, stand by. 18 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be right back. Dr. Matez, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brian. Brian, I've been talking a lot on the show about the no pee shot, the technique we use to stop the women from urinating when they cough, sneeze, laugh, etc. The technique is actually called the O shot. O stands for orgasm. The O shot is a simple, painless office procedure that can increase someone's orgasmic abilities, increase their sensation, increase their libido, a host of other things, all while rejuvenating their sexual health. In fact, if you've never had an orgasm, you should call me. The O-Shot is a really cool thing, folks. There's a plethora of information on the internet. If you Google it, you'll find a whole bunch of stuff. You can start with our website, which is www.hormonetherapybocaratone.com, or you can give us a call. 561-953-5490. That's 561-953-5490 if you'd like some more information on the O-Shot.
And it's always a free consultation for Steve Kane listeners with Dr. Matez. Call his office, 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490. All right, Dr. Matez, take care. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Brian. Have a great day.
The Medicare open enrollment period is here. Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080, 954-753-8080, and allow her to educate and guide you through the many plans, choices, and cost considerations. I Will Advisors represents all major insurance companies, not just a single carrier, so they will make sure you choose the best option for you. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
This is Steve Kane with an incredible special from our friends at Brighton Dental. 8 Emax veneers at Brighton Dental, just $49.99. All the other dentists in town charge $10,000 for the exact same veneers. 10 Emax veneers, $59.99 at Brighton Dental. These are the very same veneers that other dentists in town are charging $12,000 for. Get the Hollywood smile you have always
Make sure you guys subscribe.
Call Brighton Dental at 954-922-4633.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for
Yes, we are back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Ed Pasquale will be live in studio today in the 8 o'clock hour with Steve Kane. Let's go to the phones. Jeff in Maine, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, Brian, that guy, Zimmerman had no right chasing down that kid. He wasn't a cop.
Yeah. You know, I've taken many concealed weapons courses over the years here in Florida, and when you're a concealed weapon permit holder like Zimmerman, what you do in a situation is you try to get the hell away. You don't move in like you're a cop, you know? Yeah.
Boy, Brian, if that was a white child that he shot and killed, what would have happened?
He'd be in prison right now.
That's right, and it was a lot to do about race.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. It's true. You know, when that I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be in a hell of a. Steve hates when I talk about Trayvon Martin and Zimmerman. It's like topic for bit. I think he might rather me talk about Star Wars, the new film coming out this month, than this. But race played a huge factor in every aspect of this. And you know, Al Sharpton's a creep, a race pimp, a hustler, and everything else. Okay, but if it wasn't for Al Sharpton, George Zimmerman never would have been arrested.
And, you know, if that had been my child, Zimmerman would have never made it to court.
And what does it say about his character to you that he's suing the mother for $100 million?
You can't get lower than that. How low can you go?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I can't, you know, I don't know what it is. You know, I don't know what it is with some people in the conservative movement, but I love what Richie said, Jeff. Where was he going? Was he going home? You know, black men have and black teenagers have freedom of movement. It's not the old days of the Jim Crow Democrat South when blacks were not allowed out at night. You know, it's just, wow.
Why didn't he call the police?
Mm-hmm. I've called the, you know, you know, yeah. That's right, yeah. And I will agree, he probably did attack him first. But I think he had reason to fear. You know, a lot of this may be when I was younger than Trayvon Martin was, I was followed by a guy who, I was about 15 at the time, and I was walking down the street, and a guy followed me for quite a while, and I think he was going to try to abduct me, and it was a pretty terrifying feeling. And he was following me in a busy road in Fort Lauderdale. I was on foot, and he was in a pickup truck, and he would drive ahead to the next street and do the U-turn thing, and I tried to get away from him, and he kept finding me, and I eventually ran into a store when he didn't see me. And I saw him driving back and forth looking for me for quite some time. And I think the guy was going to abduct me. And he made a comment to me when he drove by one time. And he said, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you, he said to me when he drove by. And this was back like in 85. You know, you didn't have cell phones, kids, like you do now. And it was pretty terrifying. And I, you know, I've got that. Maybe it's that experience that I have that I kind of have a different view on Trayvon. But now George. But if you look at Zimmerman since then, he instigates things. He pushes people's buttons, and then I didn't do anything wrong. You see him. I've seen this happen a couple of times with Zimmerman.
And he was never charged for that.
Well, they may have over. By the way, moving on to some things, so I don't get in too much. Did you see this police shootout on TV up there in Maine? You got any thoughts on that? Yeah.
If they blocked off the interstate, Brian, and they knew it was empty, why didn't they let him get on the interstate and do the shootout then?
Well, you know, I don't think people realize the drive time. Coral Gables is way down south in Miami. It's Coral Gables is where the University of Miami is, and to get from Coral Gables to where the shootout happened during that time of day takes a lot of time, and the road that he got on the interstate, to me, it just seems like it crossed jurisdictions and crossed counties from Dade County, Miami-Dade County to Broward County. Seems to have been a lack of communication and organization, and I don't see how they allowed a shootout to happen at a busy intersection. And when I saw that a bystander who was just sitting in their car is a victim here, that just breaks your heart. And you know, and I know everyone. The police were asked the question last night. The UPS driver and the bystander, were they shot by the robbers' bullets or the police? We don't know. But even if they were shot by the robbers, you know, I don't think they handled it well so far as forcing that truck into a place. They let the event happen where it happened. They should have done something to try to isolate it and force it. And we've all seen police put up road barricades and clear roads on a dime. So it was a mess.
It seemed like they didn't even attempt to try to do that.
I understand in the heat of this situation, they had two shootouts happen. They had the one at the robbery itself between the robbers and the people at the store. And, listen, we don't have all the details yet, and we'll know more as the weekend goes on and next week. But in that jewelry store where the shootout happened, I don't know if that was a smart move by the store people to get involved in a shootout. I think the best thing to do was let them leave if they're, and they started a shootout there. They should have just let them leave if they could have, instead of getting involved in a gunfight at the jewelry store.
The silent alarm, so the police already knew something happened.
And they were, it seems like a lot of mistakes were made by the jewelry store people and then the Dade County. I was in a robbery many years ago. I was on my way to work here on the radio, and I walked into a gas station during a holdup. And I talked about it at the time. It was crazy. A guy was holding up a gas station. And I walked in during the holdup, and it was right at the end. And he ran out the door, and luckily he ran out a different door than the one I just walked into. And when he ran out, the gas station attendant grabbed a club that he had behind the counter and ran after the guy. And the guy had a knife. He robbed the place with a knife. And I'm thinking, and I went to work after that and was on the air talking about it. The store clerk was a listener. He called me up on the air. He's like, I didn't know that was you, Brian. And I was talking about how stupid he was to run after this guy. He should have just let him run. Why would you go after him? So anytime you're in a...
They had a gun.
Yeah. Anytime you're in a situation like that, the last thing you want to do, using your gun is a desperate last resort. I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I own guns. I've owned guns all my life. I had my first gun when I was 12 years old. My dad and grandfather gave me a .410 shotgun. So I know guns. I love guns. I took my daughter shooting for the first time when she was like 13, 14, So, I'm not an anti-gun person, but the last thing you want to do as a legal gun owner is use that gun in a firefight. That's your last resort of survival. And I got to tell you, if I was in that jewelry store and they pulled out guns and started to, I would be more shocked that the guy in the store was trying to defend the store with his gun than just letting them rob us and leave. I mean, I just let them leave. Don't get involved in a gunfight there.
Hey, Brian, I got one more question for you. Hope you all have a great weekend. All my friends on following you.
Yeah.
Got 2 big appointments coming in Togus VA Hospital for major issues I've had from a severe car wreck, and I'm hoping I get some answers Monday.
Well, what's the problem you're having from the car accident?
I had a traumatic brain injury, whiplash, and I have permanent nerve damage and vertigo, and they did some testing on me and made it worse.
Oh, my goodness.
Months for them to get me to...
How old are you? How old are you? Oh, you're not old enough for Medicare, so you got to go through the VA. Yeah.
50 miles an hour. I was on I-80 parked in the breakdown lane. All I remember is something was wrong with my truck, and the kid fell asleep and rear-ended me going 8.
Oh, there on seatbelt. It is a miracle. I tell you, the thing about the VA, you talk about waiting for that appointment. Back, when those VA deaths were happening, I had a theory on that, and I don't know if you were listening back then, because I think you're kind of new to the show, and let me run it by you since you're going to that VA wait list. There were veterans who died because they didn't get treatment, and I noticed something that everyone I saw in the news who died because of the Veterans Administration hospital wait list, each and every one of them had something in common other than being a veteran. And what I saw in common was a racial component. They were all white. And I had a theory, which I can't prove or investigate, but I talked about it at the time, and I'd like someone to follow it up. I've spent time at VA hospitals because my father, veteran, when you're dealing with government bureaucracy, there's a lot of people that work in these places that are non-white, and in particular black. And what I was wondering, was it just a coincidence that these veterans that were dying were white from not seeking treatment? or was there some type of racial component as to them waiting for their appointments by the appointment setters? Yeah, but the people, these are bureaucrats, and it's like you go to the driver's license place, the post office. You know, these people are there, president after president. It doesn't matter who the president is. And I just wondered if there was a racial component to these guys having their appointments put off and having other people, because I didn't see none of the national stories about veterans who died because of it were anything but white. I never saw any that were black or Hispanic. And there's a lot of minorities in the military, and I just thought it was odd.
But that's very true.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unproven thought that I had, and no one brought that up. And you know what they really need to do is dissolve the VA and give veterans Medicare benefits. And you know the VA was set up because after World War I and World War II, veterans needed treatment, and there was no Medicaid or there was no Medicare system back then. So really, the VA should be dissolved. And veterans like you should be given Medicare cards, and you should be able to go and handle it like anyone else.
A veteran choice program, and now I can get my nerve block shots in a private company outside the VA close to them.
Well, you know, it depends on where you are. Like here in South Florida, we have great VA hospitals. There's one in Palm Beach, there's one in Miami. I know people that go to both, and they praise them. But, you know... Yeah, but it depends on where you're... All right, well, hey, listen, good luck in your testing, and we'll hope that it all works out for you, okay? Okay, thank you so much. All right, let's take a break. 34 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, on the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back after this break.
Did you know that your skin is your largest organ? Yet, it's probably the most neglected. Living in South Florida means having an annual checkup for skin cancer is vital. We live in the Sunshine State after all, and our skin bears the brunt of the sunshine. It's time to have your annual skin checkup. There's no better doctor to take care of this for you than Dr. Jose Mendez. Dr. Mendez is a board-certified dermatologist, and when it comes to caring for your skin and making sure that it is healthy as possible and skin cancer-free, you want Dr. Mendez as your personal dermatologist. Dr. Mendez is caring and very knowledgeable. Your annual skin cancer exam is covered by Medicare. Dr. Mendez also takes most other insurances. Steve Kane recently had his annual skin cancer checkup. It was easy breezy. Dr. Mendez examined him from head to toe, took off a few things, and now Steve is good to go. Call Dr. Mendez right now at 954-431-7681. 954-431-7681. When you call, make sure to ask for Sarah. She takes extra good care of Steve Kane listeners and will get you an appointment fast. Early detection of skin cancer can save your life. Call Dr. Mendez right now at 954-431-7681. 954-431-7681.
Hey guys, this is Kathy, Brian's wife. Last year I got Brian a MyPillow for Christmas and it was his favorite present.
That's right, Kathy. In fact, I loved MyPillow so much, I got you one and Emily one the following week. And then a few months later, I got a MyPillow pet bed for our dog, Nina.
Our entire household sleeps on a MyPillow, and I have to say, a MyPillow will give you the best sleep of your life.
It's not just height. There's a reason the MyPillow is so
Until the end of the month.
It will actually help you sleep deeper.
What'd you say?
You will wake up rested.
Next week, the beginning of the week, though, I'll get a
MyPillow is the way to go.
And if you know someone
What?
with pets, a
The check?
MyPillow pet bed is a great
Oh, the pillow.
gift.
Oh, no, I haven't. I'll follow up on that. Don't worry. I just haven't done it
You're
yet.
bound to find the perfect gift for everyone on your list, and they can be shipped directly to the recipient.
When you order at mypillow.com, make sure to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, for great radio discounts like the BOGO 2-for-1 MyPillow offer. Buy one MyPillow and get the second one for free when you use the promo code KANE. And pet beds, just $19.99 when you use the promo code KANE at checkout.
This Christmas, make it a MyPillow Christmas.
Order at mypillow.com or call 1-800-716-4879. From our house to your house. Merry Christmas.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350 for single people,
All right. And we're back. Steve's joining us. Yesterday, both Pelosi and Biden had out-of-control meltdowns. And this one with Pelosi is a significant one. And I want to play the clip. It's her with James Rosen. And let's not forget, James Rosen was spied on by the Obama administration. Back in 2013, he was doing some reporting on North Korea. And the Obama administration put a phone tap on James Rosen phones and also the phones of his parents' home. Nancy Pelosi, I know a lot of you trivialize Pelosi because she's such a despicable person. Let me tell you something. She's deep in the swamp. There's a photograph. You can find this online. Nancy Pelosi, when she was in her 20s with President Kennedy while he was president somewhere. So she's part of the deep swamp, okay? She's very well connected. She's also the third highest ranking member of the federal government, Speaker of the House. And before I play this clip, I just want to do a little setup about the importance of this.
For the presidency,
Yeah.
if something were to happen.
That's
to
right.
Our president and vice president, she would be the president of the United States. If that doesn't scare you, nothing.
Well, she's a very powerful person. She's the second most powerful person in Washington. The president's number one, Speaker of the House is number two, because vice president's a figurehead for the most part. And this thing with Rosen's very important because she threatened him. I'm going to play it in a moment. It's a threat from the second most powerful person in the federal government. And what Nancy Pelosi is doing here is making with Trump is making a run for the presidency. And this is what's in play with the Democrats. Okay, this is what's in play with the Democrats. Then I'll play the clip with Rosen because it's very important, and it's not just something to laugh at and say she's unglued. People trivialize things. Very important what happened yesterday and significant. When I was talking about this in the first hour, just recap this a little bit. I listened to that jerk Napolitano yesterday right after Pelosi's press conference. This guy's so damn giddy. He's as giddy as he is short. And I got some advice, Napolitano. Short guys should not wear pinstripes, okay? I mean, I'm only 5'7". I'm not a giant or anything, but you don't see me in pinstripes. You look like a midget. You look like Billy Barty, but regardless of that...
You look strange in your Star Wars shirt, don't you think?
Well, this is Star Trek. This is Star Trek today. This is the symbol of the United Federation of Planets, the Great Seal of the United Federation of Planets. But Napolitano was talking on Fox yesterday, right after her little press conference, that it's very possible that President Trump will testify and speak at his trial in the Senate. And then boom. And they had a whole discussion about it. Then it got me thinking. When you look at the Democrats and the never-Trumpers like Napolitano, they hate Trump with a passion. And when someone is consumed with hate of someone, they don't see things clearly. I have people in my life, well, they're not really in my life. They inject themselves in my life. But there are people that are listening to this broadcast right now and listen every day and have listened for over 2 decades that hate me with a passion. And no matter what I do, it's wrong and incompetent and they can't see, I don't need to mention any names today. And please don't. I don't want to get sidetracked, Steve, please. But there's a handful of jerks that are stalkers. Steve and I... No, I don't. Please don't. But I don't need them to inject themselves today and this weekend. If you think I'm talking about you, maybe I am, but there's a lot of you around. Steve and I have stalkers. I mean, it's like Stan in the Eminem song. But anyway, we have several of these guys.
All my stalkers are...
Men?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah, but anyway, regardless, there's multiple ones. So if you think I'm talking about you, maybe, but you're not alone, okay? But regardless of all of that, when someone is consumed with hate, they have an opinion of an individual and everything they do through the intoxication of being consumed with hate. And when Napolitano, big never Trumper, said that Trump may be testifying and talking and speaking at the Senate trial, that's what they think is going to happen. And Pelosi and the Democrats have a fantasy that when the Senate trial happens, that Trump, who's just in love with himself and the camera and has to command every room, is an egomaniac and all these things, will testify at his own trial. And what their fantasy is going to be a Jack Nicholson, A Few Good Men moment, and he's going to that's right, I ordered the code and the quid pro quo. And Mitch McConnell and the Republic, I'm telling you, these are sick people. And Nancy, that's right. That's right. I ordered the code red, and I told the president of the Ukraine, go after Hunter Biden, or you're on your own with Russia. They think that's going to happen. I'm not kidding. When I heard Napolitano talk about Trump testify, Napolitano's not an independent thinker. He's very compromised, okay, if you follow him. So what Nancy Pelosi thinks is that's going to happen, and the Republicans will have to remove him from office. Pence will become president. He's also jammed up in Ukraine. They're going to force him out, and she's going to be the president. They think that. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what they're thinking.
What a nightmare.
So yesterday, I call her Madam Speaker, always, because when you think of madams, you think of a woman who runs a whorehouse, and the Democrats in the House are a bunch of whores and whoremongers, and she's a House madam, literally. That Speaker of the House, she's the madam of the House of Representatives. She's a House madam of a bunch of sellout whores. Nancy Pelosi had that press conference yesterday, and then James Rosen asks her if she hates the president. And her reaction, I'm going to play this. The volume's low in the beginning, and the reason it's low is she left the podium and was going backstage, and she got triggered by Rosen and started confronting him. Later in the clip, it gets louder. She went back to the podium, and she threatened James Rosen, who was spied upon by the Obama administration.
I don't hate anybody.
Representative Collins, I
don't hate anybody. Not anybody in the world. Don't accuse me.
did not accuse you.
You did.
I asked a question.
You did.
Representative Collins yesterday suggested that the Democrats are doing this simply because they don't like the
I
guy.
have nothing to do with that.
I think it's an important point.
The president is a coward when it comes to helping our
Now keep in mind, now she's back at the podium. She was done. She was almost backstage. She was at the stage exit. Rosen asked the question. She confronted him directly in front of him, and then went back on this rambling thing about all the issues on their Democrat platform.
our kids who are afraid of gun violence.
She can't even speak straight. Because see, this is what I talk about, being intoxicated by hate. She can't even, over the years, there's been a couple times where I've looked like a fool on the radio. Always when I'm truly angry and pissed off, because you can't control yourself. And hear the quivering, that's the anger getting to her because Rosen triggered her.
I think he is cruel when he doesn't deal with helping our dreamers, of which we're very proud.
They're Mexico's dreamers, by the way, Nancy. But, by the way, can you pick the poop up off the sidewalk in San Francisco? And the hypodermic needles, too. Would you mind?
I think he's in denial about the about the climate crisis. However, that's about the election. This is about the election. Take it up in the election. This is about the Constitution of the United States and the facts that lead to the president's violation of his oath of office.
Okay, now again, this is the other thing. Then we get the big threat in a minute. All of a sudden, all week long and yesterday and tomorrow and next week, the Democrats have more respect than anyone who has ever lived in America to these slave-holding white supremacist founding fathers. My whole life I've been hearing that they're slave masters. The Constitution was written for the dominance of slave masters to maintain white supremacy. Now all of a sudden, they're the standard of everything.
And as a Catholic, I resent your using the word hate.
Okay. As a Catholic, what's your position on a life inside the womb? The Pope has said, Nancy Pelosi, that you are forbidden. By the way, not just this Pope, the Pope before him, both of them, said you're forbidden from taking Holy Communion in Mass because you support abortion. What's your thoughts on that as a Catholic?
In a sentence that addresses me. I don't hate anyone. I was raised in a way that is a heart full of love, and always prayed for the president. And I still pray for the president.
Now here's Nancy. Here's Nancy violating the separation of church and state. Here we have this high federal government official in the Democrat Party who's bringing in Catholicism, which is Christianity, into her role as governor. She's violating the separate. This is how upset she is.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
First of all, if I could ask you to turn up my headset.
I can't. This is low volume on this, so you know.
Do you think when she made that statement, that interchange with Rosen now, do you think she, in her mind, thinks she believes it? That she's not?
I don't think if I don't think she knows what she was saying or even remembers the moment because she was so angry. She was like had that tunnel vision you get when you're angry and talking. You know what I'm talking about? So now she's.
I think she believes that about herself. I
Yeah.
think she's very in tune with who she is.
Yeah. Well, now she's going to come in for the threat.
That addresses me. I don't hate anyone. I was raised in a way that is a heart full of love, and always prayed for the president. And I still pray for the president. I pray for the president all the time. So don't mess with me.
Okay. Don't mess with me. Now, she's pointing her wrinkled old finger with the expensive manicure at James Rosen. You know, all this talk from the media that the press are being threatened by Donald Trump. Has Donald Trump ever pointed his finger at a member of the media and said, don't mess with me? That's a threat. She's the second highest ranking member of the federal government. Next to the president, she's the most powerful person. And she told a member of the press, don't mess with me. That's a threat to a man who was spied on by the last Democrat president, Barack Obama, for his reporting. And if that's not a threat of the media, I want to hear what Brian Stelter has to say about that and these other people in the media who are so concerned with the treatment of the press by this president. I've never heard him point his finger at anyone in the White House press corps and say, don't mess with me, Acosta. Never heard that. Never heard that. But Nancy Pelosi threatened a member of the media. All right, we'll take our break. Steve's here. Ed Pasquale will be joining us in the 8 o'clock hour. Much more to talk about. And also looking for if there's any one that is current or former law enforcement. I know you don't want to cross the thin blue line. I want to hear your thoughts on these Dade County cops that pushed this hostage situation into a crowded intersection as opposed to blocking off I-75 where they were driving and evacuating it and trying to have a confrontation there as opposed to a busy intersection. Did these Dade County cops screw up? Bystanders dead at the intersection. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. I really don't know. I mean, it seems pretty bad to me. I watched the shootout video. People speaking Spanish. I don't. You go down to Miami.
They chased him until they caught him.
Well, yeah, but it's a long drive from Coral Gables, and they were on I-75, and it seems to me that there was a lack of communication between Dade County and Broward County law enforcement and the highway patrol that patrols I-75. Seems that something could have been done to force a confrontation somewhere else where there's not a bunch of people stuck at red lights. All right, listen, we'll take a break and be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Your fantasy is they would stop.
Well, we'll talk about it after the break. We got a break. We'll be right back after this.
25% chance that you'll develop a foot ulcer that can lead to severe health consequences, including amputation. At the sole authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own therapeutic shoes and custom inserts. Medicare recipients are entitled to one pair of quality diabetic shoes and 3 custom inserts. Call the sole authority today, 954-597-7060.
People put off the medical care they need for a lot of reasons. My deductible
What'd you
is
say?
too high. I don't have insurance. My schedule is too hectic. I just can't afford it. The time for excuses is over. Thanks to Any Lab Test Now.
Or just find out when that other location's opening up. Find out when that other location is open.
PSA, only $34. Full cholesterol lipid panel, $28. Complete thyroid panel, $49. Diabetic A1C test, only $27. No doctor's order or prescription needed. All testing is always anonymous and confidential. In and out in 15 minutes or less. Most results in 24 to 48 hours. Make sure to ask about their allergy testing, which includes micronutrient and environmental allergens, and vitamin deficiency test, drug testing, you name it. Any Lab Test Now at Plantation, probably test for it. Any Lab Test Now at Plantation is located at 8367 West Sunrise Boulevard in the Jacaranda Plaza on the corner of University Drive and Sunrise Boulevard in Plantation. Give them a call, 954-916-1072. 954-916-1072. Online, labtestingplantation.com. Take control of your health with Any Lab Test Now.
Steve Kane Show.
954-916-1072.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just
Steve
search
Kane
for
Show.
WWNN.
All right, we're back. You know, let's not forget, any lab test now at Plantation open on Saturdays. A lot of people know that. They're open on Saturday. They close a little earlier on Saturdays, but they're still open on Saturdays. And I'll tell you, I usually go in for my testing on Saturdays because there's some tests that I need to have done that are fasting, and I can go in there without loading up on coffee and things like that in the morning. And when you go in on Saturdays, you would think busiest day of the week. It's just like during the week, in and out on Saturdays in 15 minutes or less. So,
I'm going to be there today getting my B12 shot.
Oh, you know, listen, we don't talk about the B12 shots too much at any lab test now with Plantation. But, you know, you hear us talking about the low prices on all of their thousands of lab tests. Their B12 injections, very, very low. I don't know the price off the top of my head, but call them. And if you get B12 shots somewhere, you'll save a lot of money if you go to any lab test now with Plantation. I think I know the price, but I don't want to. I may be off. So call them 954-916-1072. 954-916-1072. Can I tell you about this shootout real quick before we get into? Okay. Coral Gables is way down south in Miami. It's where the University of Miami is. The shootout happened in Broward County, so there was a long drive, and they were following them the whole way. And they got on.
Did you watch the drive?
I saw some of it. I didn't see it till after the fact. Okay, but obviously rush hour down in Dade and 75, and I've taken I-75 down to Coral Gables several times during that very same time of day. Okay, once. That road is not as busy as you think. And once they get on 75, to me, it seems that the police could have cleared out the lanes and done a barricade at the exits or on I-75 and had a confrontation with them in the UPS truck before they got to a busy intersection. It seems to be a screw up to me.
I was in the barber's chair watching this thing in a barbershop, so it was kind of...
Was it a black barbershop?
Wild comment? No, not really.
Yeah.
we getting commentary as the thing was going on, and these guys were shooting all the way.
Yeah, I know.
Whenever anyone got close to them, they put their gun out the window.
That's right.
These were real wackos.
Yeah, they're animals.
Yeah.
You know, but we don't know. It was asked by the police at the press conference last night. The bystander and the UPS driver hostage, were they shot by the robbers or were they shot by the police? And they wouldn't answer.
Well, they're probably going to have to do more extensive investigation before they have an answer like that.
Yeah. But I've seen police shut down roads and lanes and exits on a dime, and none of that was done here. I know they were shooting along the way.
If they figured at any point if they forced a confrontation, I am imagining this. I don't know this for a fact, but it seems to me they'd be afraid that every time the cars would get close to each other, the shooting would stop.
They could have.
So they were trying not to press.
They could have stopped that. They could have stopped that UPS truck on I-75. Close down the lanes. Close down the exits. Throw the spikes out there. There's going to be a confrontation, but force the confrontation on 75, not a busy, crowded intersection at rush hour. It just didn't. It seemed to be a screw up, and probably because different agencies and counties not communicating.
It was a nasty situation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't want a Monday morning quarterback. I mean, I love the cops, but that seems to be a screw up, and I don't know. It's a terrible thing. The UPS driver dead, a bystander just sitting in the car at the intersection dead. It's terrible. Terrible. It seems to be a screw up by the police.
We will find out, I'm sure. Meanwhile,
we have some calls, too, if you want to.
Yeah, you want to take some calls? Because I want to know what comes next here. Of course, I'm a little confused
about what?
As to, well, in the procedure.
Oh, the Democrats are so stupid. Okay. You know why Scott Israel didn't resign and let himself be removed?
Probably because he wanted to be eligible for a pension.
Oh, no, he's eligible for pension. He's got 100 years on the Florida State pension. And your pension is based on your final salary. So, no, Scott Israel knew he was going to be removed by the governor. He knew, because the governor ran on this, Ron DeSantis. And I'm of the opinion, that's just my opinion, but I think Scott Israel remained sheriff and didn't resign and went through the humiliation of being removed, which is a big humiliation. They take your badge and everything. Remember, 5 minutes later at a press conference, he was wearing a suit. It was humiliating. The reason he did that is because while he was sheriff, he maintained control of the investigation, the narrative, and everything coming through the sheriff's office on the whole Parkland situation. The moment he wasn't sheriff, he was out of control of everything. The Democrats, they're on their high horse right now. As soon as they vote to impeach him, it's out of their hands, and everything's in the hands of the Republicans from that moment forward till the end.
Well, let's just get this straight, the chronology. Have they had that vote yet?
No. They're talking about maybe right before Christmas, right after Christmas. But when they have once they vote on impeachment, if they impeach him, they no longer have any control.
Fade into the background.
That's right. And the Republicans can call witnesses, including Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, the whistleblower, anyone else, Schiff, anyone that they want. And Pelosi can't do a damn thing about it. And Pizza the Hut, Jerry Nadler, can't do a thing about it. And the same goes for, what's that creep that had the hearings before? The creep, Schiff, can't do anything. The Republicans, I know his name, I just wanted to call him a creep in a more clever way. But, it's true. But they lose control. And they're going to be in for a shocker when the Republicans start calling the whistleblower.
Well,
when the
you can't
Republicans
tell me.
start
I know
calling
they're
Schiff.
Democrats and maybe not, at the highest level intellectually, but certainly this thought is short.
No, they're too consumed with their anger. No, they have no clue.
They don't realize that?
No, they don't. They don't. They're so consumed with their hatred of Trump, they can't see straight, and they're not thinking clearly.
Well, are they going to be entitled to call anybody?
No, we're in charge of the whole process, just like they were in the House. They bullied the Republicans so much without no witnesses, can't question anyone.
Well, but we got all that sympathy. But now we're going to go and reverse that, give that up?
Yeah, remember Gates told that hag the other day, "You cannot allowed to interrupt me. This is my time." No. So the Democrats, they played it the way they played it in the House, and the Republicans are going to be in control in the Senate. And they're totally out of the loop of power. They can't stop them from calling any witness, including the whistleblower. There's nothing they can do about it. And I don't think the Democrats have really thought about that too much.
Well, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So what's the next? Would you have any?
Oh, what happens next?
Chronology?
I know exactly what happens next.
What happens today?
Well, right now, it's a time for a break. We're going to take a break. That's what happens next.
Well, I'm sure everybody on the scene there at the hearings will put everything on hold while we take our break. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. Ed Pasquale, our honored guest, political specialist and analyst, will join us this morning. We'll be back with Ed right after this.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Public.
December, next December, a year.
Money Talk Network.
Did you know that your skin is your largest organ? Yet, it's probably the most neglected. Living in South Florida means having an annual checkup for skin cancer is vital. We live in the Sunshine State after all, and our skin...
The Celebrity Edge.
The sunshine.
The Edge,
It's
it's
time to
called.
have your annual skin checkup. There's no better doctor to take
It's
care
the
of
most
your
advanced cruise ship on the ocean.
Dr. Mendez is a board-certified dermatologist, and when it comes to caring for your skin and making sure that it is healthy as possible and skin cancer-free, you want Dr. Mendez as your personal dermatologist. Dr. Mendez is caring and very knowledgeable. Your annual skin cancer
120.
is covered by
120.
Medicare. Dr. Mendez also takes most other insurance.
There's not that many people on the ship.
Recently had his annual skin
They don't.
cancer
These
checkup.
ships don't have that
Easy
many.
peasy.
No.
Dr. Mendez examined him from head to toe, took off a few things, and now Steve is good to go. Call Dr. Mendez.
Of course, yeah.
954-431-7681. 954-431-7681. When you call, make sure to ask for Sarah. She takes extra good care of Steve Kane listeners and will get you an appointment fast. Early detection of skin cancer can save your life. Call Dr. Mendez right now at 954-431-7681. 954-431-7681.
For the best wings in this town, it's Wings Plus. Wings that are first grilled and then fried to make them extra crispy, served with blue cheese and celery. Try the Jamaican jerk, the lemon pepper wings, the honey mustard wings, the garlic wings, and 15 other varieties. That's Wings Plus, located at 9880 Sample Road in Coral Springs with a politically elite.
I've had a couple of those.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire and Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beat. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
If you suffer with diabetes, there's a 25% chance that you'll develop a foot ulcer that can lead to severe health consequences, including amputation. At the sole authority at little or no cost, you can receive your very own therapeutic shoes and custom inserts. Medicare recipients are entitled to one pair of quality diabetic shoes and three custom inserts. Call the sole authority today, 954-597-7060.
All right, coming back.
Is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350 for single people, $450 for married couples. When you complete your trust with Attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a
Nothing's happening today. It's happening next week. Change the subject from what, Beverly? Beverly said change the subject. From what? What do you want us to talk about?
What's happening today?
Nothing. Nothing. They're closed for the governor. They don't work on Fridays. It's the weekend. It's the weekend.
Its staff, management, or sponsors.
The Steve Kane Show is live in Morning Drive, 6 till 9 a.m. weekdays.
Trump's gonna go on
till 6 a.m. 7 nights a week. To call the show toll free. 1-888.
All right, we're back. We're back. We're back.
That's a real good question. We're sitting here. By the way, welcome back. We are here on this Friday with Ed Pasquale. He is our political consultant here on the Steve Kane Show. Brian Craig, my co-host, and
I'm always here.
Makes me a co-host too. So.
Well, good morning, Steve. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. So where do we go from this? What happens today?
Well, let's first just state something. We had a wonderful holiday a week or so ago, Thanksgiving. And I hope everybody took the time on Thanksgiving to sit at their table, put aside their petty differences, and be thankful that we live in the best country in the world, in spite of all its flaws and its blemishes and its scars. And it's worth hanging on to. So I hope everybody was thankful for that and didn't get into political craziness. Because appreciating family is something what Thanksgiving is.
Well, remember the Democrats were trying to destroy Thanksgiving by having them cause political arguments to convince your Trump-supporting relatives that he should be impeached.
Well, they
they
managed to destroy a lot of things, haven't they?
But we're back to what you call the political craziness now.
Did you see Biden yesterday with that 83-year-old guy that he called fat?
Oh,
Told him he was too old to vote?
What are they going to do?
Who's a Democrat?
This is a good one to start with. What are they going to do? What are these poor Democrats going to do with Biden?
Too old to vote.
He's out of his mind.
He's 3 years older than Biden, but Biden says he's too old to vote.
You know what? They're not going to do anything. I think Biden's going to extinguish himself. There's enough history behind him.
You think they'll get him to quit? I don't know if they're going to.
I don't know if they're going to get him to quit. You know, unfortunately, he still leads in the polls. But you know what? You know what?
I think it's good.
There's something that I find strange about the entirety, and
you don't think it's good? I want Biden to stay. I want him to be the nominee.
Listen, I don't care who runs. I really don't, because nobody is a match for Trump. And this charade that's going on now. Look at what happened. Here you have Trump, Donald Trump, who was obviously a successful businessman in New York, he had to deal with the corrupt unions, the corrupt politicians, and a non-existent mob that's in New York that controls much of the trade up there. And he navigated his way through that. Then he decides to run for the highest office in the land, the presidency, and he takes on the Republican establishment. One by one, knocks off 16 people, all on his own, without any organization, so to speak. Takes on the Bush dynasty, knocks them down. Wins the Electoral College by an obviously landslide, and puts down the Clinton dynasty, okay? And with all of that he's done,
now he's going to take down the Pelosi.
Now he needs to go to Ukraine to get some foreign purpose, some underhand guy to take down the weakest of all those opponents, which is Joe Biden.
Yeah, and
it's beyond comprehension.
They haven't used that yet. That he wants Biden to get the nomination. He's not trying to destroy Biden. Biden's his I was going to use a term that's a little too vivid for radio, but it's his fondest dream, let's put it that way, to have Biden as his opposing candidate. Is there anybody be easier to beat than Biden?
You know, I think they're all going to be easy, you know, because Trump manages to focus. He has a unique ability to assess the situation as he approaches it.
And to find the Achilles heel of his opponent.
And to deal with the specifics of the situation.
Right, like they're too short or that...
Whatever it may be. Whether it's on policy, whether it's verbally, whether it's physically, whether it's a counterattack on them, whether it's on a broad macro level of the right and wrong that exist in the world and foreign powers. With other countries. I just look at what he did when he had these 3 high school boys sitting talking, in the locker room talking about, boy, what do you think about Trump monopolizing all the time? And I'm talking about Trudeau and and Macron. And he gets asked about it. What does he say? Well, Trudeau's a two-faced. He's got no problem. He brings it right out. Yeah. So he matches. He's got a tremendous wit to him. He's on his toes constantly, and what's interesting.
We do know. I'm sure you agree with me that the Democrats, for whatever reason, I guess they're so deluded, they're licking their chops at an opportunity to confront Trump.
They live in an alternate reality, and
no
you know what? The Democrats would be wise to take some advice from the great philosopher Jerry Seinfeld. Because he had an episode called The Opposites, and what he told George Costanza, because George's life was always perpetually in turmoil, he says, if every instinct you have is wrong, then the opposite must be right. The entire Democratic Party and their where they're going, they should take that, because they should realize no matter what they've tried has been wrong. It's not based in reality. It's not based in facts.
But they cannot admit that to themselves. They're not going to permit that in their reality. They're really not. I mean, they are delusional. We've been saying it.
Well, as the facts come out, reality wins in the end. And I think that's where we're coming. I think we have some adults in the room finally.
On the Democratic side?
No, I think it's on the side of justice, on the American side. This is not about Democratic or Republican side. This is about, freedom and non-freedom. It's about the abuse of powers of the federal government to achieve political ends. That's what every totalitarian, every statist regime does. It utilizes its powers that it's had. Obama was famous for it throughout the entirety of his tenure, whether it was the IRS or using any of the intelligence to promote a political agenda.
Taxes.
And to access, to uncovering people.
With the Attorney General, with the creep who used to be the Attorney General.
Whether it's the Fast and Furious, whether it's Loretta Lynch on a tarmac with Bill Clinton.
Yeah, really.
It's beyond the pale that, that it was so blatant abuse of power. And yet they're looking to hang Trump on this little phone call. There's just not
you think they're going to call Hillary?
Parity.
You think they'll call Hillary?
Do I think they're going to call Hillary?
Yeah.
They've called Hillary a lot of things. Did you watch her interview with Howard Stern the other day?
Yes.
That's Siri, the woman in your life, Steve. Siri. talking to you.
This woman that keeps
Anyway, Hillary's an interesting enigma.
You know why? You know, it's interesting about Hillary. Why is it so important for her to go on Howard Stern and let everybody know she's not a lesbian? Is that a bad thing, Hillary? I don't. Where are the LGBTQ plus non-binary Caitlyn Jenner's at? Because that seemed to be a big, strange thing. Yeah, why would she do that? Is being lesbian bad, Hillary? Yeah.
Does anybody here think she's going to declare?
You know what? I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. She doesn't have all the marbles. I mean, I think we all know that.
Yeah, but who's more far gone, Hillary or Biden? I would say Biden in a heartbeat.
Well, first of all, you got
He called this guy fat.
You have the sex thing going with Hillary. I mean.
You mean the gender?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I stand.
Sex and Hillary's pretty disgusting thought.
Well, let's look at something.
I mean, she does pick up a lot of female voters just for having a vagina.
Well, yeah, but you know, you look at the sex thing. I mean, look at the people, the men in her life that she surrounded herself with. Doesn't this strike you? It's her husband, obviously, who doesn't have the most illustrious history with women.
Abuser.
Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. Now, these are three of the most misogynistic people that are out there, and you know.
Well, you know, one thing that people aren't talking about now with Hillary, she doesn't have what it takes to lead anything. She had a nervous breakdown when she lost the election and had to send Podesta out to say we lost. She couldn't even walk out there and face it. She's a weak person.
Yeah, but I don't think Democrats view her that way.
Some Democrats. I think a lot of Democrats do.
Well, I think a lot of them realize that she may not be prime. She may not quite be up to running for the presidency, but at this point, she may be past her prime. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But
and Biden isn't.
I guess they all are now that you think about it.
Sanders isn't.
No.
It's the one reason why Buttigieg, he's got an appeal.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just
you know, he's got a charisma about
We
him.
got to take a break. We will take your calls. I would like to hear from the audience. Anybody? By the way, I'd like comments on what comes next and what you're looking forward to, and what you see as potentially the high points from this point on. Give us a call, 1-888-GO-KANE, K-A-N-E. The number 1 is the final digit. 1-888-GO-KANE 1. We'll be back after this.
People put off the medical care they need for a lot of reasons. My deductible is too high. I don't have insurance. My schedule is too hectic. I just can't afford it. The time for excuses is over. Thanks to Any Lab Test Now of Plantation, where they guarantee the lowest prices on all of their thousands of lab tests. PSA, only $34. Full cholesterol lipid panel, $28. Complete thyroid panel, $49. Diabetic A1C test, only $27. No doctor's order or prescription needed. All testing is always anonymous and confidential. In and out in 15 minutes or less. Most results in 24 to 48 hours. Make sure to ask about their allergy testing, which includes micronutrient and environmental allergens, and vitamin deficiency tests, drug testing, you name it. Any Lab Test Now at Plantation, probably test for it. Any Lab Test Now at Plantation is located at 8367 West Sunrise Boulevard in the Jacaranda Plaza on the corner of University Drive and Sunrise Boulevard in Plantation. Give them a call, 954-916-1072. 954-916-1072. Online, labtestingplantation.com. Take control of your health with Any Lab Test Now of Plantation. 954-916-1072.
You got Horowitz.
This is Steve Kane. When it comes to looking your best, sometimes you need a little extra help. Dr. Nathan at the Nathan Clinic is a renowned plastic surgeon here in South Florida who will bring out your most beautiful self. Dr. Nathan is highly skilled, knows how to reveal your inner beauty and make you look your absolute best. He's a board-certified plastic surgeon. People come from miles around just because of his extraordinary skills and his caring bedside manner. Dr. Nathan performs breast augmentations, facelifts, Botox, tummy tucks, liposuction, and much, much more. Visit his website, read the testimonials from his patients. They love Dr. Nathan, and you will too. He has years of experience and impressive credentials that make Dr. Nathan the only plastic surgeon you need to visit. He'll advise you and tell you the best course of action so that you will always remain true to who you are. You can contact Dr. Nathan for a no-charge consultation by calling 305 area code 680-5121. That's area code 305-680-5121 or online at drnathan.com. Tell him you heard it on the Steve Kane Show.
There's honor amongst thieves.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Kathy, Brian's wife. Last year I got Brian a My Pillow for Christmas and it was his favorite present.
That's right, Kathy. In fact, I loved My Pillow so much, I got you one and Emily one the following week. And then a few months later, I got a My Pillow pet bed for our dog Nina.
Our entire household sleeps on a My Pillow, and I have to say, a My
Steve
Pillow
Kane
will
Show.
give you the best sleep of your life.
It's not just
Yeah,
height.
what's your
There's
name?
a reason the My Pillow is so
Oh,
perfect.
hey.
It will actually help you sleep deeper, and you will wake up rested.
If you're looking for the perfect gift for someone you care about, a My Pillow is the way to go.
And if you know someone with pets, a My Pillow pet bed is a great gift.
There are so many awesome products at mypillow.com. You're bound to find the perfect gift for everyone on your list, and they can be shipped directly to the recipient.
When you order at mypillow.com, make sure to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, for great radio discounts like the BOGO 2-for-1 My Pillow offer. Buy one My Pillow and get the second one for free when you use the promo code KANE. And pet beds, just $19.99. You use the promo code KANE at checkout.
This Christmas, make it a My Pillow Christmas.
Order at mypillow.com or call 1-800-716-4879. From our house to your house. Merry Christmas.
Listen to
All right.
the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
We're back.
All right, we are back. Ed Pasquale, the political expert on the Steve Kane Show.
That's right.
is our guest, and now as we're getting into this advanced inside stuff, see, Ed is our contact to the underground.
Well, I'm not sure. Don't say underground to an Italian. You know, it's a little bit. And anyway, you know, we left.
Buttigieg, you wanted
We
to
want to talk about Buttigieg a little bit.
Buttigieg.
And, he's obviously a charismatic person. He's a likable.
You talking about Pete Buttigieg? Is charismatic?
No, Joe.
No, look, he's a likable character. Doesn't mean
He's
you agree
likable?
with what he says, but he's got.
He
some
said black
cyber
people
value.
have no one to look up to that values education the other day.
Well,
He's despicable.
Let's look about where Buttigieg's roots come from. His father was a communist professor at Notre Dame.
Yes.
All of that information has been scrubbed off of most of social media.
I don't think anybody cares at this point.
Well, he's a communist.
You know, people are a reflection of their
Well,
family,
but
the
he's
values
not-
that they
but
grew
he's
up
not-
with.
He is not the focus of the action at this point in time.
As he gains popularity,
Yes,
he
now
may
you're
very well
talking.
be. And I'm
Yes.
just trying to bring it to the point, you know, nobody knew when Van Jones came into the Obama administration that he was a card-carrying communist. And when that came out, he had to move aside.
I just
a little
don't
bit
think with
in the
his-
Tsarist regime
I
that
think
he
he's
had.
too young. I don't think he has enough. What's
No,
the word?
you-
Gravitas.
I agree with you, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have a certain sense of likability amongst the clueless millennials that are out there.
Yeah.
And I think it's proper to not expose, but certainly identify the history of these people, of where their values come from. And his father was very predominant in his thought process.
Do you think his relationship with his father drove him gay? Have this dominating commie father? Think it had any role in that?
Well, let me just say this. I think the only thing at this point that makes Buttigieg a good topic for conversation at this point is how he would fare, speculating on how he would fare head-to-head with Donald Trump.
I think we're a little early yet to do that. I think anybody on
Well,
that
if we're
stage-
talking about it, that's really going to be...
Well, you know the problem is for Trump, you can't make it. Listen, with Buttigieg, there's all kinds of gay humor you can make that you can't make.
Yeah.
His last name,
Well,
the way, you know.
when you say he can't make, when you say...
Well, what's his last name? Buttigieg, and you look at how it's spelled, and he's the mayor of South Bend. This guy. I mean, there's so many ways to go that nobody. I mean, I'm not even saying the jokes. Yeah, but it's so easy.
I don't think it's quite time yet. You know, timing on dealing with your opponents is very important. And just as timing is important in everything. And with the investigation that's coming out, you know, Trump is pushing, let's get into the Senate, let's get the truth out. You know, he's obviously been denied his Sixth Amendment rights of facing his accuser. That's something that will be in the Senate proceedings.
You think so?
Well,
who's his
that's the
accuser?
Sixth Amendment right.
The whistleblower. The whistleblower.
The whistleblower. That has to come out.
And you know who they'll
The
recall?
whistleblower, Adam Schiff.
Yeah.
The
And
entirety of this
and
charade
Vindman.
that's going on.
And Colonel Vindman, the fat colonel.
Oh, I love
the fat colonel.
The colonel that strangely got offered 3 different times a position as Secretary of Defense of Ukraine.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's just beyond common
Exactly.
sense.
You think the Democrats are totally unprepared for this? You don't think they've thought this through and they...
Exactly.
I think they're very short-sighted. They have no principles, so they can't connect the dots to the long term. They are totally reactive in the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, the only long-term strategy
That's
they
right.
had was to control power. That's been going on for 100 years in this country. They realized that Obama brought forth what he tried to say was the failure of Western values, of the failure of capitalism. He was the utopian socialist candidate that was to ride in a la Cloward and Piven to save the world, to save the minions that are out there.
This is Obama we're talking
Obama, and he brought it to the forefront, and right now we're dealing with a very stark reality of socialism and capitalism. And
who's the credible socialist candidate now?
Socialism is incredible, so you can't have a credible candidate.
Well, that's
It
one of my
defies logic.
point. So why are we even paying that?
Because they're every-
Because we don't define what socialism is. We
Every-
define that it's
Every
the
Democrat,
abrogation of property rights and individual rights.
every Democrat running today is an out-of-the-closet socialist. Every one of them.
Every Democrat has been for the last 50 years.
Not this much.
Let's take a call.
Yeah, okay. All right, Doug.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning, Doug.
You know, I'm hoping that Mitch McConnell will end this by just saying, you know, this has been a partisan witch hunt, and since there's nothing really basing impeachment on, there's not going to be a trial.
That's exciting.
That's interesting. You
I
really
keep
think
saying-
that you would really do that instead of make hay of this opportunity that has presented itself to expose these creeps?
Yeah, that would be nice, but it's put the American people through this. I don't think is necessary, especially coming up the holidays and next year, whatever's going to be too close to the election.
Spoil
I think
Christmas.
they should just make it look. It's over.
All right, it's a great question.
I think
Great
you're right. I think
question.
they
What
want
do
to
you
win,
think?
and
All right, we get the picture, Doug.
I think you're right about that. That it's probably wrong for them to do that. But you know, this train is not being driven by McConnell. This train is being driven by the Democrats at this point. And they're pushing
It
forward.
won't be, once they turn it over, once it goes into the Senate, it's not gonna be driven by the Democrats.
Once
You're
it
really
does.
saying you'd forego the opportunity to get Schiff on the stand?
No,
and
I
cut him
think
down the
that's
sides?
something they wanted. In fact, I think Trump made reference that he would love to get on the stand and be the witness. You want to talk about the ultimate reality show with 200 million
Oh,
people
my
watching.
God. Well, but then what this caller is suggesting is that we forego all that and say, okay, now we're the boss, it's all over.
You know what? You have to get the
I don't
facts
think
out.
anybody's going to come. They could subpoena them. I don't think they'll show up.
Yeah, but that'll just further show how undermined their principles and their tactics are, because sooner or later the media's got to pick up on the reality of things. As the reports become available, obviously the Horowitz report is coming out next week. Barr is beginning to talk about different things.
For example?
He said something at the Federalist Society a couple of weeks ago, which really said, this has nothing to do with politics, this has to do with the fundamentals of our country. This is not about right or left, Democrats or Republicans, this has to do with freedom and non-freedom. And it's very basic, and I believe, and again, as I said, I'm a hopeful romantic, that Barr will rise above and be the patriot that he needs to be. along with Durham
And end
as
the,
his
is
cop.
that what the Patriot does, end the hearings at this point?
Not
Take the high road?
No, it's not a matter of taking the high road, it's a matter of demonstrating the facts of reality. You can't obfuscate reality. I think Trump has given Barr the ability to release all of the transcripts that have led up to this over the last several years. And I think at the proper timing, when the people read how this has come about, the genesis of it all, how it was used to continually do it behind closed doors. The latest is the last couple of weeks of hearings, both with Adam Schiff and the fiasco that happened with these three intellectuals, quote unquote.
I loved it.
You know,
I love it. I want more
if
of
I had
it.
my kid in one of those schools, I would pull him out tomorrow.
Oh,
You want to take any more calls? I've lost track of who's who. You want to take another call before the break? Yeah. Yeah, we got a minute or two. Hello?
Good
morning.
Good morning.
This is Richie. Yeah,
Hey, Rich.
You sounded a little, for the first time I heard in your voice, your tone, you sounded a little bit disgusted, like all of us. I mean, what's going on? I wanted to ask Brian real quick. He mentioned that one of those professors was gay. Which one was it?
The guy that, there were two guys. One was not that
The one with the wavy hair.
yeah, with the, yeah. Couldn't you tell by his voice?
I saw a clip last night, and the lady is a Jewish bisexual who hates men, who says that's why she's dumped all this money to the women that are running.
Yeah, this is the one that's their Democratic.
The which?
The Democratic nominee to the next nominee
For the court?
Supreme Court.
Yeah, she says I'm a bisexual Jewish woman, and basically the country is controlled by old white men. Where is my place? She was talking to some gay club, and I couldn't believe it.
I do think
And
she
this is what-
exposed herself with the way she came out.
She destroyed any chance she ever had
Her
of sitting on the
credibility,
Supreme Court.
I think, was completely undermined.
Especially with that one thing shot, the shot at
The kid, that was pre-planned. The entirety, they came out with opinions. There
Yeah,
was
but it
no
was a
object,
bad
there was not
plan.
even a pretense of
It
objectivity.
was a bad plan.
But you know, Richie, your opposition to her being a bisexual Jewish woman is because she's old and unattractive. If she was young and hot and Jewish, you'd have no problem with her being bisexual, right?
Well, I
Yeah,
I have a
exactly.
problem with the whole thing. I'm kind of shocked that Ed wasn't convinced to impeach the president with these three scholars. And Nancy Pelosi said they're the finest of the finest. I can't believe, Ed, that you weren't influenced.
No, of course I was influenced. Listen, don't underestimate when I have a lack of passion sometimes about what's going on. I try to wait to have documentable evidence. You know,
I thought, excuse me, I thought they influenced you to impeach President Trump because they were giving all of us a lecture.
No, you know, Richie, there was a term coined by the fellow that wrote The Black Swan, I forget his name at the moment, an Indian fella, intellectual yet idiots. Those three, from those three universities, represent
it was pretty
the
revealing.
elite, and I'm gonna put in air quotes, intellectuals that want to control the rest of our lives. And that is the real danger. That has been the danger of every totalitarian, statist, authoritarian regime that has existed in the last 100 years, including Nazi Germany, by the way.
Yeah, they think they're better than the rest of us, and that shows, and that's exactly why they hate the voters of President Trump. It's not just against Trump; it's against you, Steve, Brian, me. Anyone that voted for Trump is stupid. That's how they think.
Their quote unquote intellectuality has given them a false sense of moral high ground, and when you believe you have the moral high ground, it gives you the ability to act in any way necessary to promote that, even with violence.
I'm glad they exposed that bisexual Supreme Court potential nominee.
I think that's they exposed themselves as being incompetent. The entirety of that was, to be a judge, you need to be objective. You need to put aside your partisan differences. You need to look at the law as what it is. All three of those walked in with a predetermined
Jonathan
agenda.
Turley did himself proud, though.
I think he was great up there.
And
but
he's raising the stakes now. He's starting to speak out even more and more.
he is, but you know, during his talk, he was attacked.
his family was attacked, he was threatened. And it's kind of, this is where it's going. When you go against what the intellectuals say the argument should be and their moral high ground, they're gonna come after you with any means necessary.
Richie, thank you for your call. Let's
Richie,
take a break.
good talking
We'll be
to you.
right back.
Dr. Mitch Matez. Dr. Matez, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brian. Brian, I've been talking a lot on the show about the no pee shot, the technique we use to stop the women from urinating when they cough, sneeze, laugh, etc. The technique is actually called the O shot. O stands for orgasm. The O shot is a simple, painless procedure that can increase someone's orgasmic ability, increase their sensation, increase their libido, a host of other things, all while rejuvenating their sexual health. In fact, if you've never had an orgasm, you should call me. The O shot is a really cool thing, folks. There's a plethora of information on the internet. If you Google it, you'll find a whole bunch of stuff. You can start with our website, which is www.hormone.
Not with our radio signal, but online, yeah.
Or you can give us a call. 561-953-5490. It's 561-953-5490. If you'd like some more information on the O shot.
And it's always a free
That's right.
consultation for Steve Kane listeners with Dr. Mitch Matez. Call his office, 561-953-5490.
Yes.
561-953-5490. All right, Dr. Matez, take care. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Brian.
What is it? What is it?
Steve Kane with an exciting announcement from Tavolino's. Tavolino's is now open for brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 2:45. A gourmet menu including dishes like Nana's breakfast sandwich, candied bacon with avocado
Steve Kane
and
Show.
aged cheddar cheese, and vine-ribbed tomatoes.
All right, Barry Siegel.
Or how about the steak
Barry
and eggs
Siegel.
Benedict, filet mignon poached on an organic egg, toasted with English muffin, peppercorn sauce, hollandaise, and roasted potatoes will make your mouth water. Or try Philadelphia's chicken and waffles, crispy buttermilk chicken aged with cheddar cheese, Brussels sprouts, and candied bacon. It is a taste delight you will enjoy every weekend at Tavolino's. To make reservations, call Tavolino's for either the Saturday or Sunday brunch, 954-509-0046. You're going to love this restaurant, and tell them Steve Kane sent you.
All right, Barry Siegel. Barry Siegel.
By attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350 for single people, $450 for married couples. When you complete your trust with attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino Italian Restaurant in Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Group, with 9 offices in South Florida, including Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs. Call 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, we are back. Boy, this is going to be some year for talk radio. It is going to be wild.
We're going to have a lot of fun.
And you know something? I don't think it's going to stop. I think it's going to keep going and going. And
Oh, this is good. Oh, this is when Trump gets elected for his next term. We're going to have another 4 years of this.
And now on the phones, the master of the Revocable Living Trust, none other than attorney Barry Siegel. Barry, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Steve. How are you?
All excited. All excited.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's going to be a great year for talk radio.
It was great seeing you the other day. You looked
Always
great.
nice. Always nice.
And looked nice and refreshed after that cruise.
Yep.
You're telling me what a great time you and everyone had. So
You're coming
that
on
was
the
great.
next one, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. All right. We'll do that. So anyway, I mean we're in the holiday mode. Everyone just enjoyed their Thanksgiving with their friends and family, and coming up on the holidays, and it's really time to be reflecting about our family and our loved ones, and planning ahead as we approach the new year, 2020, if you can believe it. So now might be a good time to really start thinking about when's the last time you dusted off your old plan? What do you have in place? Do you have things set up the way you want? And you just don't want to leave a mess for your loved ones. You don't want to have things set up in a way where you could end up losing everything just because of a lack of planning.
And those are a lot of the things we cover in the workshop, things we cover when you come in for your free consultations. So I just urge anyone who hasn't looked at their plan in a long time to come in, and we'll take a look at it and review everything for absolutely complimentary. So hopefully people will take us up on that and review their plans so they know what they have, and maybe get some good suggestions.
Barry, give them the number of your office so they can call and make that appointment ASAP.
Sure. We have a toll-free number, 855-FLA 3782. That's 855-FLA 3782, or you could visit us on our website, www.siegelLawGroup.com. That's SIEGEL lawgroup.com.
Barry, a pleasure, and we'll speak next week, all right?
All right, thank you.
You take care, and we are back with Ed Pasquale.
You know, Steve, you mentioned that the next year and the ensuing years are going to be quite something for talk show radio. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because one of the things that we need to do is, by doing a lot of talking about what's going on, we're almost giving some credence and some credibility as though this is a real investigation. We need to preface everything that there's been no crime committed. We are indicting a man, not a crime. And that's something that we should preface everything with. Everything else is a sideshow. This is not a legal accountability for anything. This is just a personal takedown of a man that upset the status quo across the board, both Republican and Democrat.
It has the potential. We all know it's not going to work, but it has the potential, in theory, to remove Trump from office. That's what the whole thing is about.
It
It's
has
not
the
going to
potential,
succeed.
but I think Trump has changed the dynamics on the way we deal with things. Just look on the world stage, how he's viewed upon. This whole China thing. I mean, we've not dealt with this for a number of years, and we've allowed them to gain their percentage of the world exports as they did. And he comes along and is talking about a trade deal. All of a sudden, they're waiting to decide to see whether or not he's going to get elected a second term. So what does Trump do? Say, you know what? I know I'm going to get elected. Maybe we should wait till after. And then I'm going to be twice as hard on you at that point. So you're better off dealing with me now. The way the country is dealing with each other on these issues, they're front and center. And he's bringing it out, and I think he's changed the dynamics. And, the old school, and McConnell, to some extent, I think he's got some worries, because I think he's got some skeletons in his closet. I think a lot of the old school, the Boehners and all of the other ones that were entrenched in this bureaucratic state, they're all guilty. And this is.
Well, how's Trump going to handle that? Is he going to support them, or is he going to?
As it goes along, he's going to pick and choose where the emphasis needs to go. You only have so much to give, and at any given time, you have to be as efficient as possible with knocking down your enemies, the same way that he went through the 16 candidates during the run-up to the election.
All right, we're going to see if we can take a couple calls in this.
No. We could take none of the ones that are on hold are going on the air. Okay. Some others can call in if they would like.
For some good ones, though. 1-888-GO KANE 1, as we discuss the state of the impeachment, which is going to be long-term, short-term. How long are we going to have this
6 months
to live on?
I think that's going to depend upon the Democrats at this point.
Well, they may. What happened with the Democrats? Well, we were talking about this yesterday after the show. What happened with the Democrats is they had a disaster with these intellectual snobs, and they knew they couldn't have another day, not to mention 2 weeks of hearings like that.
You agree with that?
Absolutely.
So they said no evidence, no testimony, nothing. We're just going to do it.
Right.
We can't.
Gotta get this over with.
Yeah.
In fact, I would have thought that Pelosi, if she was really the smart politician that she's alleged to be, she would have came in and, when she got everybody together a couple days ago, and said, "It's done. Let's move on to another topic. Let's move
She
forward."
would have lost her job.
Well, she's going to lose it anyway. She's going to lose it anyway.
No, she's not.
When the election comes around.
As long as she plays ball.
Oh, no. When the election happens and they lose control of the House.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, yeah.
And have you noticed that the squad has been very quiet lately?
Well, that's because
They're letting Nancy hang herself.
She's giving in to them. Oh, I don't think they think she's hanging.
Did you hear Al Green, what he said would happen? This is great. Let me play this clip for you. Al Green, Democrat jerk, he was on an interview yesterday, and they had asked him, well, if the Senate acquits President Trump, what will you guys do? Listen.
A president can be impeached more than once. So we can do this. We can move forward with what we have on the table currently. We can take this before the Senate, and we can still investigate other issues. And when the president
listen to this,
has committed additional offenses, and my suspicion is that he will, we can take those before the Senate. There is no limit on the number of times the Senate can vote to convict or not a president.
So they're prepared to bring the entire government to a halt.
They're going to have numerous impeachments. They're going to impeach him all nonstop impeachments. There's no limit on how many times they can impeach him.
Let's play it out by the numbers. How is it going to play out? Do you think America's going to stand still for that?
No, I don't think so. And I certainly hope not. And if
But
they
all
do
they
stand
have
still,
to
they
do is
deserve it.
all we have to do, we being Americans in general, all we have to do is to take over the House. I mean, if we win the House, which I'm sure that would be the major campaign issue, and then they lose their majority in the
But the Democrats have an interesting strategy. They move with a roving dictatorship. When they're not in charge of one particular branch of government, they move their power and their attacks to another, whether it's through judicial or to the executive branch or through the legislative branch. Right now, it's in the legislative branch, so they're playing their cards. When it was under Obama, it was the
where's it
executive
going
branch.
next?
Well, we have to see.
There's only 3 branches.
That's right. You know what? They may return back to the judicial branch.
They may be forced to, but they're not doing so good in the judicial either right now.
Well, you know what?
And when of course the proverbial you-know-what hits the fan with the passing of Bader Ginsburg, all bets are off. What do you think?
I told you what I think should be, which would, I think,
Not should be.
more
You're here
unite
to-
the company.
You're
Ginsburg.
here not to tell us what should be. You're here to tell us what will be.
Well, I like to think I can connect the is-ought, but, sometimes that's not quite as easy. There's so many ancillary things around it, but I would love to see, and I know you guys jumped all over me last time, that when Trump gets another pick for that.
Here we go with the Merrick Garland thing. Oh, yeah. Why did you just pick that lady, Stanford professor, while he's at it? I mean, give me a break.
Brian, now we're to the theater of the absurd.
There's no difference. If Obama picked Garland, he's got to be just as bad. He just hides it.
Garland is qualified. There's no.
You like this guy? Does he eat at Tavolinos or something? You got to think for this guy.
And to compare
Merrick
him to
Garland.
any one of these other people, that's not right.
I'd love to get some feedback.
We
from
need
the listeners
objectivity
on that.
also. It's about justice, and it needs about. We need somebody to go back to be a
Do
constitutional.
you think the bisexual Jewish lady is objective?
No, she showed it the other day. She wasn't.
Well-
Objectivity is being able to integrate the facts around you in a rational
You
way.
think she would be
And non-evasion
she'd
of
vote
facts.
in totally different ways
Exactly.
than Garland would vote?
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Really?
No question about that. I think she believes in a living constitution. Garland doesn't. Garland is more of a textualist. Much more so.
All right, if love to get comments on that. 1-888 go KANE, the number 1-888 go KANE 1. We'll be back with the Gold Report after this.
Steve Kane.
That's why I say
What we should do is
WNN.
You've heard Steve Kane talk about the great work and the incredible prices at Dr. Gupta's Brighton Dental. Richie the bus driver called Steve Kane on the air and told him about his experience at Brighton Dental.
Good morning. I have to talk about Brighton Dental because your sponsor is a miracle worker. I broke my tooth. I fractured it and it went backwards in my mouth.
Oh, my
My front top tooth. I put it back into the socket. It felt like it was falling out. I had pain. I couldn't even eat spaghetti. And I was going to a wedding in New York 2 days later, and I said, what am I going to do, you know? The dentist here wanted to charge me $120 just to look at it and to tell me he couldn't do anything. I went to Dr. Goop there, Brighton Dental. I traveled 139 miles. I would do it again in a heartbeat, each way. Okay, the man sat and worked on my tooth for 2 hours, put a pin in it, put it back in place. I could eat anything I want. He said it was temporary. He did such a great job. It feels like permanent. I have no pain. I can eat anything I want now. And the fact of the matter, this is what really was unbelievable. I was getting on the bus to go to the reception, okay, in New York City. He knew I was in New York. The phone rings. Who do you think's on the line?
Dr. Gupta.
Right. He wants to see if everything is going okay and if I'm in any pain. The guy is unbelievably wonderful. I mean, thank you so much. I wouldn't have been able to eat. I wouldn't have been able to go. I would have looked like a pumpkin.
Everybody needs a great dentist, and of course, for you Steve Kane listeners, you have one, Dr. Gupta, and he's been over there at Brighton Dental. He takes really good care of you. He's very conscientious. He's, you know,
Ron
dentistry is an
DeSantis.
art when you stop and you think about it. And
Ron DeSantis.
Dr. Gupta certainly is an artist, and we're so pleased to have him with us.
Yeah, I just wanted them to know if you need a dentist, and the guy is so good at what he does, he's so gentle, and I mean, I don't like dentists. This guy is this top shelf, and I'm going down to him to get it permanently put in, but right now, I don't have any pain. I can eat anything I want. Incredible.
Take Richie the bus driver's advice and go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton.
They all say that.
954.
Caesar said that, I think, didn't he? Caesar.
33. 954.
Hitler said that with the Sudetenland. They all say that. Hitler said it too. With this, I'm no further.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the rematch of
Hit him. Okay, Youngerman.
#1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 for SET. And in this corner, challengers from every other manufacturer. The challengers come out swinging, but Toyota of Hollywood delivers a crushing blow by selling Toyotas at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. April 2019 Camry SE, not $28,000, $17,775. April 2019 Corolla LE, not $21,012, $775. Buy any new Toyota and we'll make your payments for 12 months.
Yeah, Lori, I talked to her about it yesterday.
Open till midnight.
You gotta take over then.
I don't know if they'll return mine. I can email them. Okay.
All right, the moment you have all waited for, the Gold Report, brought to you by William Youngerman of William Youngerman Inc. William, of course, one of the leading experts on the planet, actually, if you think about it. When it comes to the precious metals, he's been dealing with gold and silver and platinum and all those wonderful things with his clients for over 52 years. And those of you who out there have been smart enough to follow his advice, I'm sure you're quite happy about that. William, what's it looking like today?
Looking like we're still locked in that trading range we were hoping we were breaking out of, but market's down this morning, back down to the trading range that we've seen for quite a while now, 1465 to 14, or I'm sorry, on gold, 1465 to 1475. The market yesterday closing at 1475.50, that was up $1.40. Silver was up 12 cents, closing out the day at 16.93. Silver still struggling to stay above that $17 number. Platinum was up $2 at $8.95, and palladium was up $4 at $1,855. This morning, gold down a little bit by $8.50 right now at $14.67. We did get down to that $14.65 range. Silver down 7 cents right now at $16.87. Platinum up $3 at $8.98. And palladium down $2 at $18.53. So again, the market's still in the same trading range we've been pretty much experiencing for a few weeks now. Resistance for gold, as I said, above that 1475 number. Silver seems to get up above 17 and then come back down under 17. Platinum seems to have a ceiling on around $900. It's the only one that's up so far this morning at $898. And palladium has a $9 zone. So that's pretty much where we are right now.
All right, well, it's Christmas coming up, and for those that are looking for a way to find a creative gift for the one they love, and especially in the area of jewelry or stuff like that, what do you suggest?
We suggest you come in, take a look. We've got the vaults have been rearranged to make it very easy for everybody to look at anything you want to see in the way of gold jewelry. We even have a beautiful selection of sterling silver jewelry that is priced very close to just the silver value. I mean, you can't
Steve KANE Show.
for what we're selling this stuff for. So great opportunity to buy some
Yeah.
beautiful
I know.
jewelry gifts.
I know.
Before the end of the year, as well as all the precious metals in stock for immediate delivery.
And these coins, by the way, make great gifts if you have grandchildren or your kids. A great way to start them in appreciating the value of the monetary value of the precious metals. These beautiful chains, silver, gold chains, all these kind of things available. Stop by William Youngerman, 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca. Now that's the Bank of America building. You find William on the first floor, directly across from the bank. You can reach him by, let's see, did I give you the address? 150 East Palmetto Park Road. The phone number from anywhere in the world, 1-800-327-5010, or go to the website at williamyoungerman.com. William, have a great weekend, and we'll speak soon. All right?
I want to remind everybody that we have a foreign exchange department trading over 60 different currencies. So if you're traveling this time of the year, you may want to give us a call and come in and get your currencies before you go overseas.
There you go. Thanks a lot, William, and we'll speak Monday. All right?
Have a great day.
You too.
Okay.
We are back.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of news here. Okay, now the job reports came out, the job numbers, and the expected number was 187,000. And it was actually 266,000.
Oh my God.
Unemployment is now at a 50-year low.
These poor Democrats can't catch
No,
a break.
but they've ignored the economics
Steve KANE
of
Show.
the reality of what's going
Well,
on.
they try.
You know, we talked a little bit about the
Ugh.
importance of
You
the
don't think they're
2020.
frustrated?
Of course they're frustrated because, like I said, reality hits you in the face. What do you do?
You know what I haven't heard the media say? There's a phrase that the media usually use in elections. They never use it with Trump around. People vote their pocketbook. You don't hear that anymore.
No, you're not going
You're not going to hear
No,
that.
but the Republicans will. I think we all agree that Trump is pretty set for 2024, especially if they go into the Senate hearings with this impeachment. It'll take away any of the steam.
Well, they're going to do that usually.
Okay, but it'll take away much of the steam of any of the other candidates.
Yeah.
But I think the Republicans right now and the machine needs to look further to the future, because the 2024 election, I think, will continue the process. We just can't end the Trump era, because it's not just about Trump. It's about moving the direction of the country away from centralized power and dispersing it, defining what a limited government should really be.
Well,
And
I don't know about
somebody needs
limited
to
government.
continue those policies, and it's not Pence.
I don't know about limited government, but I know about limited mental capacity. We have Al the
Oh, it
John.
must be Al the John.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
Exactly.
Al, how you doing? You all excited the way things are going?
Yeah, on April 9th,
Excuse me, hold on. 50-year record unemployment numbers, job numbers surging today.
Yeah,
Any
just give us
comment?
your comments on that. What?
what's that?
Huh? What? He's
All
shell-shocked.
of a sudden, he's got a hearing problem. How do you feel about the jobs numbers? Big success there. More people working than ever before.
Of course, you're still not working, but, you know.
Well, I think
I know. I was working before you were granddaddy was born.
It's just not getting paid.
Hold on. Unemployment is at a 50-year low. The employment numbers surge far beyond economists' expectations. Your comment on the Trump economy?
My comment on the Trump economy simply is Iowa is not going to go for Trump.
Really, they don't like working in Iowa? They're like you?
Oh, no, so you see Trump losing the Democratic primary in Iowa?
Yeah, exactly.
Hello.
Hey, have you ever felt the hair on the legs of Joe Biden?
Joe Joe Biden's not even going to be the candidate for the.
Yeah, well, he's the front runner right now.
Looks awful good to me.
Yeah, You keep on believing the polls.
Well, who do you think could do a better job than Uncle Joe?
Bernie Sanders will blow.
Bernie Sanders? How many times?
The numbers that Peter Buttigieg has are manufactured numbers.
Or what?
He ain't gonna pull those numbers in the.
Really? So are you telling us that Democrat voters don't like gay men and they're not supporting the first mainstream openly gay man?
Certainly, you would go for a gay guy.
I don't understand that line. Is that yours?
You don't like gays?
You usually very.
Why are Democrats rejecting? Think about this. The Democrats just rejected a black woman, Kamala Harris, and now you're telling us they're going to reject the gay candidate?
All white guys,
white billionaires.
He couldn't raise money. That has nothing to do with the country.
Why will Democrats not support a gay man?
It's got nothing to do. Barack Obama had no problem raising money.
Yeah, but he's not a black woman or a gay man, or maybe he is. How do you break some news here?
Peter Buttigieg, what he does in the privacy of his bedroom is his business. I read to give a flying.
Well, what if he takes his gayness out of the bedroom and brings his husband to a campaign event? Is that our business?
He's going to keep his husband home?
Steve Kane show.
I don't like his policy. He's owned by the insurance industry. I wouldn't vote for him if he was alive.
Hold on, by the what industry is he owned by?
The insurance industry.
Buttigieg?
Half the politicians are
Yeah, he's
owned
owned
by
by
the
the
insurance
insurance.
industries.
Yeah.
What makes you
That's where
say
he's
that?
getting his money from.
What?
You know where the real
That's where
problem's
he's
going
getting
to
his
come?
political action committee money from.
The real problem's going to come is all of these minor candidates are going to extinguish themselves, whether it's Warren, Sanders, Buttigieg, and be careful with Bloomberg and
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because they still have a tremendous power and money base behind them.
And
they're
you think
going to come in.
Hillary's going to come in? She's got to do it
And
quick.
you
She's got to do it.
I think they can shake it up more than any of the other ones right now.
But you don't know what you're talking about.
By the way, well, okay, but we have you here as an expert on things involving the Democratic Party. Is Hillary going to
No,
come
I'm
in
an
or
expert
not?
on things involving reality. But
No, you got the
Democrats
wrong guy.
seem to go against reality.
You got the wrong guy on the phone if you're interested in reality. But what's the story going to be with Hillary?
Really. I'm the wrong guy with reality.
What's going to be the story with Hillary? Come on, stop stalling.
He's going to be impeached.
Stop stalling. Is
No,
Hillary
I'm
going to
not
run?
talking about Trump not getting impeached. So get impeached.
Is Hillary going to run? Yes or no? No, gosh. So sorry to hear that. Anyway, we thank you for joining us, and we thank all you normal people out there for joining us as well. Ed, always a pleasure.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure
We'll
to come
probably
in.
see you next week, same time, same place. Folks,
let
have
me
a
know.
nice weekend, and God bless Donald Trump. Oh.
Thank you, sir.
Woo. Wow.
Like I say, I think we're going to get by this election. It's where